This city's newest sports hero, Nick Foles, takes the field in Philadelphia. Our Thursday night football brings us to Lincoln Financial Field and our matchup, the Cincinnati Bengals and the Philadelphia Eagles. After tonight, for the Cincinnati squad, two more very important games. They'll play at Pittsburgh, a team that's already beaten them once this year, and then Baltimore to wind up the season. At 7-6, they need to start winning tonight. Welcome, everybody. Brad Nessler with Mike Mayock. Partner, when we talked to the Bengals yesterday, Marvin Lewis, Andy Dalton, all the rest, they said, we know what we have to do. We've got to win all three.
Yep.
Well, you can't win three unless you win one. That starts tonight.
And what an opportunity a week ago. Pittsburgh loses, Baltimore loses, and Cincinnati has Dallas by 9 in the fourth quarter, and they can't close them out. They imploded, bottom line. I mean, on offense, they dropped 5 passes, 2 by A.J. Green. On defense, they dropped 3 interceptions, any one of which would have closed out the game. So the margin of error is down to 0. The pressure is all on the Bengals. And what did Marvin Lewis tell us? He said, hey, we got to run the table. We have to win all 3 just to prove we belong.
They play a Philadelphia squad that ended an 8-game losing streak last week. They did it in dramatic fashion with a rookie quarterback. There's been a lot of changes made on this team, and there'll probably be a lot more. But it doesn't seem like a team that's ready to give up right now.
You and I have been in a lot of NFL buildings, and I've never been in a building where a 4-9 team had more energy. And I think the energy level is tied to one word, and that word is hope. When you've got a young quarterback on the verge of becoming a franchise player, there's a lot of energy in your building. And a week ago, Nick Foles on the road against a playoff caliber team, down 11 in the fourth quarter. It's rare to see that kid drive a team down and win on the final play of the game. Foles did it, and partner, there is a ton of energy in that Eagles building because of the way all 6 rookies that are starting have played.
I'm sure Marvin Lewis is well aware of that, the Bengals coach with Alex just moments ago.
Marvin, everybody says that you must win this game tonight to make it to the playoffs. In your mind, do you need to win?
Yes, I do. Yes, we do. I think we got to win out all 3 games, and this is the first one of those 3.
How much will fall on the shoulders of your young quarterback, Andy Dalton?
Well, you know, the rest of the team's got to play to his level. He plays to a pretty high standard, a lot of stuff that he takes care of at the line of scrimmage, so we all have to play well tonight to win.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tonight's game available in HD and Spanish on your SAP channel. Andy Reid, longest tenured coach in the National Football League. Marvin Lewis, who just talked with Alex, 10 years. So 2 guys that have been around a long time on their jobs. Philadelphia won the toss, and they want the football. Josh Brown will tee it up. That's Brandon Boykin, the rookie out of Georgia, back deep. And our final Thursday night game of the season is underway. Boykin from 4 yards deep. Bounced off one tackler at the 18, maybe got to the 19-yard line. Philadelphia started strong this year. First place 2 months ago with a 3-1 start. Then the bottom started to fall out for them. They had some key injuries, obviously Michael Vick, one of them. And then changes made with their coaches, 2 of them out. But on the final play of the game, a win over Tampa Bay ended the 8-game losing streak. Normally, the last couple of months, they pass on the first play of the ball game. Let's see if they do that here tonight from the 19-yard line. And they will. And it's complete. And it's close to a first down to Riley Cooper. Good start for Nick Foles, a pickup of 9.
And I really think they have to help Foles out tonight, Brad, because this is one of the best pass rush defenses in the league. 42 sacks, that leads the league. The Eagles' offensive line has been beat up. Geno Atkins right there, 97. He and J.J. Watt, probably the 2 best interior pressure guys in the league.
Second down and short. A quick pass, off play action out to Macklin. And he's got a first down, and the ball comes out. And the Bengals are going to cover it out at the 45-yard line. Damona Pecco, I think, is the guy that came up with the football.
Yeah, Pecco got the football. And bottom line, for a bad team, when you're 4-9, you can't put the ball on the ground.
There is a flag.
And Dunlop did a great job stripping the football from behind.
Block in the back, number 64 offense. That penalty's declined. First down, Cincinnati.
So an Eagles team that was minus 19 turnover ratio coming in. It's minus 20 now.
Look
Great
at
job
Dunlop.
stripping the football.
Yeah, from behind. Macklin never saw it. High and tight. What did the Mike Zimmer tell us at our meeting last night, Brad? He told us, bottom line, we got to strip the football all night long because they hold it loosely.
And they do so on the second play of the ball game. So now the Bengals with an opportunity immediately at the Eagles 44. Ben Green Ellis into the secondary and down the sideline. Inside the 20, cut down at the 16-yard line. But much like he's done all season long, he rips up a long run, and that takes him over 1,000 on the first carry of the night.
Yeah, their second first-round pick pulls out. Then they get Presley right here. So watch Zeitler, the guard. He gets the block on the linebacker right there. Now the fullback on the corner. Bang. Ness, that's an easy one. Turn it up the field and go.
And over 1,000 he goes down to the 15-yard line. Bengals had trouble in the red zone last week. 4 trips, only 1 touchdown, 3 field goals. They've got an opportunity here. The quick throw to the outside, and it's A.J. Green. And they were going for the interception out there and came up short.
And that ball was thrown to the incorrect shoulder. I think Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie should have picked it. Watch, the ball's thrown inside. Cromartie jumps it. How do you not catch it? So look at it. That's a great shot. How do you not catch that football? So we saw Macklin on a bubble screen put it on the ground. Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie with a chance to get a pick 6. It goes right through his hands. Not a good way to start the game if you're a Philadelphia Eagle fan.
The Bengals have scored a touchdown on each of their last 3 games on their opening possession.
We're good.
They've got it at the 7-yard line right now. Second down and 2. Green Ellis weaves his way inside the 5. The pile still moving. And he might make it to the 3, maybe the 2-yard line. It's going to be first and goal.
Talk about stripping the football. Colt Anderson's playing safety for the Eagles because of the injury to Kurt Coleman. Watch 30 come in right here and look at him try and strip the football. I thought Anderson brought kind of an energy to this Eagles defensive backfield a week ago. In his first start, had 6 tackles, and I thought was the most aggressive safety against the run that I've seen here since Dawkins.
First and goal, Cincinnati. Orson Charles, the tight end, splits out to the top of your screen. Green Ellis into the middle of the pack. Got back to the line of scrimmage, and that's about it. Cole Anderson's on the bottom of that pile, the guy Mike just talked about.
Yeah, the Bengals really like the right side of their offensive line because they got a couple big boys, Andre Smith and Kevin Zeitler, that can move a pile. See number 71 right there? He can move several piles, partner.
He's a pile all to himself. Green Ellis, did he get there? Just shy. Andy Dalton saying touchdown. The officials are not.
Yeah, Chaney, the linebacker, did a nice job coming off the block of the tight end. Tight end comes down. You see 51.
Ooh.
Really hard to tell there when his knee hit. Very close. Look at the left elbow also. Left elbow first and then the ball. So I do believe it's short.
It is third and goal at the 1-foot line. Green Ellis again, and this time he bulldozes his way in. Touchdown, Cincinnati.
And all 3 times, Brad Nessler, the right side of the offensive line. It tells you where they think their run strength is. Zeitler and Andre Smith with down blocks. And then the fullback. So you're going to go down, down, down. They've got the extra blocker in on the right side rolling. And then the fullback cleans up on the linebacker. At that point, the law firm, Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, drop the pad level and get in.
His 6th rushing touchdown of the year. Josh Brown for the point after. So it didn't take Cincinnati long to grab the lead on the road. First the turnover, and then 44 yards and 6 plays later, a touchdown for the Bengals, and they're out in front 7-0. Didn't take long for Cincinnati to grab a touchdown lead. And again, over the past 2 years, look at the turnover margin, now at -20 after -14 last year. Can't win a lot of football games that way.
No, you really can. And when you give the football away, the Eagles' giveaway number is now at 30 giveaways. Just to give you kind of a comparison, New England, who's best in the league, has 10.
Yep.
Just to give you a comparison.
Brandon Boykin from about 6 yards in this time on the kick return. Found a little avenue to get out close to the 25. So Nick Foles completed his first 2 passes. Unfortunately, his receiver put it on the ground on the second play of the ball game. But the last 2 games, his quarterback rating near 100. And he's a pretty cool customer. We spent about a half an hour with him yesterday.
Yeah, he kind of gives you that old laid-back California cool thing, but I think there's a little fire that burns in there. I was at practice on Tuesday. After practice was over, he was out there for another half an hour working on routes with his receivers.
On the ground, Bryce Brown, another rookie for a couple. As we take a look at the Eagles offensively, this wasn't the group of linemen they were expecting at the beginning of the year. They were decimated by injuries. That's the group in front of Foles and company. Brown in there now as the tailback. Macklin, Avant, Cooper, the wideouts, Clay Harbor, the tight end, as Brett Selleck's out with a concussion. And I'm sure he would have loved to play in this game because he's a Cincinnati native, went to the University of Cincinnati, but he's out this week. Empty backfield. Foles throws the out, completes. And Macklin goes out of bounds after a pickup of about 7. We talked about the Bengals defense, and the guys did in the pregame as well. This group will get after you. As Mike said, they lead the league in sacks defensively with 42, and a good portion of it comes from their front 4. Vontaze Burfict, he's been a surprise. We'll talk about him as we go. And a veteran secondary. So 3rd down and 3. And now they shift it again, an empty backfield with Foles in the gun. Going to go deep down the left sideline. And almost caught over there by Clay Harbor, the tight end. And it was Leon Hall in coverage.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's a great matchup. Now, here's what they get, 1-on-1, because they've got to move everybody over here. 1-on-1 with Leon Hall. If you're going to try and give the opportunity for your tight end to catch a football, you got to throw it inbounds.
Yep.
Leon Hall's faster. The only advantage your tight end has is size. So it's got to be inbounds with an opportunity to go up high and catch it.
McBriar in to punt. Adam Jones waits on this one back inside the 25.
Eagles are missing people on offense. Here goes Clay Harbor sprinting in. And people are booing because just, you know.
Snap was a little wide, and he kicked it right into his own man. Loose ball again. Basically another turnover suffered by the Eagles.
Yeah,
the snap was a little bit to the right. He took a step that way, and then I think he kicked it right into his own man.
Yeah, because Marvin McNutt is going to get jacked right back into the kicker. Really good job by the outside rusher for Cincinnati. Watch him get low, and he pushes McNutt right back in him. I mean, that was Daniel Hearn, who got a partial block a year ago. Excuse me, last week Daniel Hearn got a partial block of a punt. This week he does a great job. Here comes Clay Harbor running on late. That whole thing is a mess.
And now it's going to get messier if the Bengals score again. They start at the 11-yard line. Green Ellis protecting that football and gets down to the 7. Pick up a 4. Bobby April, the special teams coach of the Eagles, can't like what he had seen there.
You know, all 3 phases right now. The first one is Macklin puts the ball on the ground on a successful bubble screen. Then Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie has an opportunity to make a play on defense and doesn't make the pick. And then on special teams, they run a guy on late and get a punt blocked. I mean, all 3 phases so far have let down the Eagles.
2nd down and 6. Bengals can get a first down near the 1-yard line. Dalton to throw. Pumps, pulls it down, and goes down. Nice job defensively by Brandon Graham, who's been coming on in recent weeks from that defensive end spot for Philadelphia.
Here's one where I thought Dalton was too conservative. He had an opportunity with a tight bunch. With this tight bunch over here, one of these guys, I think it's Hawkins, is going to come wide open. There's 16, wide open. Why didn't you throw the football? He looked right at him. He pumped it. Andy Dalton's never thrown an interception in the red zone in his NFL career, and sometimes I think he's too conservative.
3rd down, 11 from the 12. Dalton, a quick throw this time. He didn't wait and hesitate, and he completes it, but it's only back to the 6-yard line to Jermaine Gresham. So the Eagles are going to force a field goal, and that's good news for them.
And you know, if you're a Cincinnati Bengal fan and you're looking for a playoff, and you know, I think Andy Dalton has been so good, Brad, and the one thing I'd like to see him be is a little bit more anticipatory and to trust his reads a little bit more early. I think he's so conservative sometimes.
And Jay Gruden told us, the offensive coordinator, yesterday, sometimes I tell him, just let it rip. Get out there and rip it.
Trust it. Trust your read and rip it. 24-yard
field goal attempt by Josh Brown. The kick up and good. So 3 more, courtesy of a bad play by the Eagles. First it was the fumble. That led to a touchdown. Then kicking it right into your own man at the 11-yard line leads to a field goal. 10-0 Cincinnati. Tonight's aerial coverage is being presented by America's Navy. Nice night for mid-December in Philadelphia. Not a good start, though, for the home team. Down 10-0. Marvin Lewis Bengals. Step 1 tonight of trying to win 3 straight to make it to the postseason. High, shorter kick this time. Boykin will field it at the 4. Gets across the 20, but that's about it. And the Eagles in a 10-0 hole. William Penn looking in, not liking what he sees right now. Eagles on offense when we come back. Eagles set to start just outside their own 20-yard line. 10 points already for the Bengals. They have outscored their opponents 106-35. Wow. 7 opening drive touchdowns. You look at those graphics, Mike, and you wonder, how's this team 7-6?
They haven't closed. You know, and last week was the perfect example. You're up 9. Your defense is playing lights out. It's 19-10 against the Dallas Cowboys, and you can't step on their throats. And that's one of the things Marvin told us last night, is we got to close some games out.
They know they let one get away there in the red zone by only getting 3. Philadelphia from the 21-yard line. Foles in the shotgun. High snap. Bryce Brown trying to get to the edge. And he tiptoes out of bounds after a pickup of about 4. Wallace Gilberry, the guy that ran him out. Bryce Brown, quite a story, really. The tailback, the rookie. I was going to say out of Tennessee because I did one of his games at Tennessee. He only played 13 games in college after transferring to Kansas State.
And for a 7th-round pick, I got a kick out of talking to him yesterday, Brad, because his comment was, man, I didn't even expect to get drafted. And what I thought was interesting was Andy Reid brought in both Nick Foles and Bryce Brown with the 30 allowable visits they had pre-draft.
They'll give it to him on the stretch play. Bengals drag it down after he got 2 more out to the 26. I mentioned Kansas State. Bryce's brother, Arthur, a linebacker for Kansas State, and a great one.
Interestingly enough, on defense for the Bengals, talk about a 7th-round pick in Brown, but they've got a free agent linebacker, Emmanuel Lemur, another Kansas State player, and they really like this kid. He's long, he's lean, he can run, and he'll play tonight in a bunch of pass situations.
So here's another 3rd down situation for the Eagles. 3rd and 5 for the rookie quarterback. Pressure coming. He steps up. Flags are down. He got the throw away complete. It's a 1st down out near midfield. Jason Avant. But again, will it be a pickup of 26 or will it be coming back?
Well, I like what Foles did right there, extending the play.
Offside, number 93, defense. That penalty's declined. Result of the play, 1st down.
Now remember, 4 of the 5 starters in this offensive line were not anticipated preseason. Watch Foles step up. He feels pressure from Atkins, but the eyes stay down the field. That allows Avant to uncover. He's covered right here. Watch him. He breaks it out late against Leon Hall. Great job.
First play for the Eagles in Bengals territory. They get it down. 4-yard pickup to the 45 for Brown.
The play that Foles just made there reminds me of several plays he made last week against Tampa Bay. He doesn't have great feet. He's not a fast guy, but he was a highly recruited basketball player coming out of high school, and I think they've really worked on his quick twitch, just getting him better in the pocket. Michael Vick looking on, and they've got a big decision to make on him coming up around Super Bowl time.
Whether or not to release him, a lot of people think that will be the case. Play action. Foles wants to throw back to the middle of the field, and now wisely gets rid of it. Carlos Dunlap giving chase, and it brings up another third down.
And here's the deal with Vic. He's played 16 games once in his career, once in 10 years. The Eagles have a $3 million question coming up right around Super Bowl time. At that point, if they do not release him and let him become an unrestricted free agent, he's guaranteed $3 million and scheduled to make another 13 during the season, which wouldn't become guaranteed until the regular season starts. So how this kid here plays, Foles plays the end of the season, will play a large part in that.
Bengals bring a blitz, quick slant, knocked down, and Adam Jones with a play, and Riley Cooper looking for a flag. I think it was a boom boom. I think he got there just in time. Whether or not he had his left hand on his back, I don't know.
I like the play by Adam Jones here. Watch the right hand come flying in at the end. I think that's a pretty good play. You can have your hand on the back as long as you're not turning the offensive player. If you've got the hand on the hip or the back and you turn them, they're going to call it every time. Foles did a pretty good job there.
Yeah, they're going to have to punt it away, but at least they should get this one off the foot and not into a teammate. Not the greatest punt in the world, though. Down to the 13-yard line to Brandon Tate. So Cincinnati already in front 10-0. One of the finest second-year combos in NFL history. Andy Dalton and A.J. Green set to go to work on offense when we come back. Whistler, Mike Mack, Alex Flanagan in Philadelphia, where the Eagles trail 10-0 with 5:18 remaining in the first quarter. Marty Morningway again there, the offensive coordinator. This is the first snap for the Bengals on their own side of the field tonight after a couple of gifts. First a fumble recovery and then a botched punt from the 13. Quick play action that throws out to A.J. Green. He's got it out to the 20-yard line. I mentioned a great second-year combo. Both second-year players, the numbers they put up have been phenomenal over the first two seasons, an all-time NFL record. And if they hook up 4 more times for touchdowns this year, they'll match Dan Marino and Mark Clayton. And those are some pretty impressive statistics. Alex said to Andy Dalton last night at our meeting, what's with the chemistry that you have with A.J. Green? Andy Dalton told us when a guy is that good, it's hard not to have chemistry with him.
Which shows you that Dalton's a pretty intelligent dude.
Second down and 3. Green Ellis off the right side, follows his blockers well, and he's got a first down out to the 26-yard line.
You know what I thought was interesting in all of our conversations with both the Eagles and the Bengals about A.J. Green, every single one of them, coach or player, brought up a comparison with Calvin Johnson and whether or not A.J. Green was already the best wide receiver in this league. And the way I look at it, I think he runs better routes than Calvin Johnson. I just don't think he's as physically imposing. Calvin Johnson imposes his will on every team he plays. This kid's going to have to grow into that.
Those 10 touchdowns tied for most in the NFL. They fake the end around. Dalton pressured but going deep into double coverage, but incomplete. Let's check in with Alex.
So Brad, A.J. Green's talents, if you will, becoming a little bit legendary, right, amongst his teammates. Stories emerging of him at practice, running down the field 50 yards and catching a ball using his hands, backwards, catching him behind him. But really, a lot of players telling me that his hand-eye coordination is really what impresses them. The guy has been juggling since he was in first grade. I'm not kidding. A very good juggler. Certainly helps him when it comes to catching the football.
Great at parties, too. Second down and 10 from the 26. Empty backfield. As Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis goes out as a wide out to the right. It's going to be a screen to the tight end, though. And Gresham's got a lot of room to work. Puts his shoulder into Nate Allen and goes out of bounds with a big gain.
And Kyle Cook, the veteran center, they just put him back in the game. Watch Cook come down and make a block here on the screen. This is one of the smarter players in the league. He's going to peel back and anticipate bang on Fletcher Cox. And now you've got people out in front. And Jermaine Gresham, to me, is a guy that's got kind of Heath Miller skill. He's a good blocker. He's a good receiver. He's got that kind of ability. And if he stays healthy, he can be that kind of player.
Rookie Trevor Robinson, you got a shot of the center. And They run right behind the center, and we haven't even had a chance to set the Bengals offense for you. A couple of rookies on the front wall. And we've got a player down. Chris Presley, the fullback. And we'll take a break, check on him when we come back. 3:13 remaining first quarter. Chris Presley's leg just sort of buckled on him when he got blown up by Jamar Chaney right there. And he went off under his own power, so hopefully he'll be able to return. Working on him on the sideline while his teammates have a second down and 9 at the 46. Eagles might have jumped, and whistles stop play.
Yeah, Andre Smith went off on purpose just to try and get them in the neutral zone.
Neutral zone infraction, number 54, defense. His movement into the neutral zone caused a reaction by the offense. 5-yard penalty, second down.
There's the penalty. Graham. Bengals so far out 10-0. Fumble on the second play of the ball game by the Eagles led to a touchdown, and then a block punt led to the field goal. Good start for Cincinnati on the road, and now they're back in Eagle territory at the 49. End around coming. Marvin Jones. Jones got the edge. Taken out of bounds as he hit the 40-yard line. Jones, another rookie out of California. They have high hopes for this kid.
Yeah, he flashed last week. He had a 37-yard gain on a reverse last week also. Watch Orson Charles, another rookie, pull out in front. Tight end from Georgia. Right now, you've got it. Charles gets the block. This kid flies. I thought he flashed last week. The week before, he got some snaps. He dropped one that became an interception against San Diego, but they need another wide receiver to step up. Mohamed Sanu went down with an injury. Somebody's got to step up and take some heat off A.J. Green.
Sanu was just coming around before he broke his foot. Dalton, play action, plenty of time, great pocket, long ball. A.J. Green broken up in the end zone.
Yeah, that's the kid I like there, Colt Anderson. Last week he brought a ton of energy in the run game. This week he does a great job on play action. Now watch him come over top. It's a double move. Watch the safety come over top and make the play. Colt Anderson is only 5'10" from Montana. Reminds me a little bit of Timmy Houck, another defensive back from Montana. But he's aggressive, he's tough, and I think they're a better football team when he's in the game.
In his third year, nice play there to break up what could have been a touchdown. Second down and 10 at the 39. Dalton scanning the field, pressured now, and throws this one away. Colin Jenkins was applying the heat that time to Dalton.
I think Colin Jenkins was the guy that Jay Gruden was most concerned about defensively. I think we've got two of the better defensive tackles in this game for applying pressure in the pass game. Obviously, we've talked about Geno Atkins, but Colin Jenkins, who came over from the Packers, a 9-year veteran, one of the best pass rush defensive tackles in football.
Both number 97. We'll be seeing a lot of each of them tonight. Third long this time for Cincinnati. Dalton pressured again. Throws on the run, almost intercepted. Nice play on the football by D'Amico Ryans, the middle linebacker.
Yeah, we talked about Colin Jenkins. Watch him cross the face of the rookie first-round pick Zeitler and get immediate pressure. There's a hold. It's not called. That forced them up through and out of the pocket, and then a great break on the football. Oh, that really looked good. I love the break on the ball by D'Amico Ryans, but they got to finish it.
So they force the punt. Kevin Huber to kick. Damaris Johnson is back inside the 10. Johnson just gets out of the way of this one, and it makes it to the end zone. So Philadelphia trailing 10-0 with 1:25 remaining. Andy Dalton knows what could have been had he not misfired on that last pass. Wake up with NFL AM, the only morning show dedicated to the NFL. Tomorrow morning, 49ers running back Frank Gore will join us and talk about the big matchup Sunday with the Patriots. Giants wide receiver Victor Cruz along to talk about the matchup with the Falcons. Wake up with a first look at the latest NFL news, info, and highlights leading to the weekend games. NFL AM tomorrow and every weekday morning, 6 a.m. Eastern, only on NFL Network. You should have run the steps today to the Rocky statue instead of spending all that time on the treadmill.
What are all those knuckleheads doing in the dark running up those stairs because of some fictional movie character? Are you kidding me?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
First down at the 20. Foles play fake down the sideline, and nobody home there either. Riley Cooper was the closest man.
Adam Jones has kind of matured a little bit, like the way he's playing, and he's become an important guy in their coverage. When they go their nickel package, they kick Leon Hall inside, and Adam Jones, who I think has grown up a little bit, didn't want to be Pac-Man anymore.
Right.
But he's become, I think, a really safe, conservative corner, and I think he's added a lot to their defensive backfield.
Leon Hall was telling us he's more proud of him how he's taking care of business off the field than on the field. Little miscommunication there, I think, as Bryce Brown's run out of bounds after a pickup of maybe a yard. That play didn't look too good from the beginning.
It's kind of funky because it's actually where they run a zone to the front side, and you're exactly right. He and Bryce Brown were off a little bit in their steps. Manny Lawson, another long line, but they love those long guys that can run in Cincinnati.
Well, here's another third down and long situation. That's what stopped the Eagles last drive when they moved it into Cincinnati territory.
The Eagles are one of the better screen teams in the league also.
Flags down. Might be a free play for Foles, and he goes complete. Jason Avant out of bounds with a first down. And it looked like the Bengals jumped in the neutral zone. We'll wait and see.
Offside, number 96, defense. The penalties declined. Result of the play, first down.
I think Jason Avant has become an accomplished wide receiver. He's not as fast as most people. See the way he set up Leon Hall for that outside break? He had 6 catches last week for over 100 yards. And with Deshaun Jackson out of the Eagles lineup, he's become much more of a go-to guy.
Both his catches tonight on third down. And that one good for a first down at the 37. Foles just throws this one to the sideline. I don't know if that was a screen pass that was blown up or what, but Nick said, get rid of this thing.
There were only 2 receivers out on that route. Typically, they like that out of play action. I don't know why you'd run that out of one back, no play action.
Luga, the captain of the defense at middle linebacker, and Mike Zimmer, the guy calling the shots, the defensive coordinator.
Yeah, when's he getting a head coach job in this league?
I don't know. He deserves one, don't you think?
He's more than paid his dues, and the guy's really good.
Brown trying to follow his blockers, a hurdle to get what little he got, and that was nothing.
He hurdled Crocker, but you're exactly right. There was nothing there, and Mike Zimmer, I think, is one of the top coordinators in the league, has been for quite a while, and this guy ought to be at the front of the line for a head coaching job.
End of one. Cincinnati in need of a victory to keep their playoff hopes alive. And through 15 minutes, they've got a 10-0 lead. Now the second play of the ball game, the Eagles made a mistake. Jeremy Maclin stripped by Carlos Dunlap from behind. Pecco with the fumble recovery. That led to a touchdown 6 plays later. And then this one for football follies. For your special teams, not so special.
Yeah, Boom Herron, the Cincinnati Bengal, does a great job jacking Marvin McNutt right back into the kicker. And Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, you got a chance for a pick 6. How do you let the football go through your hands? So when you look at those 3 plays, the Eagles have only themselves to blame for a 10-0 deficit.
And they're at 3rd and 11 to open up the second quarter. Wide receiver, screen to Riley Cooper, but the Bengals are waiting on it. And no gain or very little.
Yeah, good job by Michael Johnson. And I told you the Eagles are one of the better screen teams in the league. I love the hustle to the football that all Mike Zimmer teams have.
Not a great start for Nick Foles so far tonight. Adam Jones, 3rd in the league right now, punt return average. Matt McBriar to kick. And Jones will take it at the 20. Little move to the outside, got the edge. Jones good return out to the 37-yard line. 18-yard return of a 44-yard punt. Reminder for you, next Wednesday, catch a football life and revisit the most mysterious and memorable play maybe in NFL history. The Immaculate Reception 40 years later. I just felt really old saying that. You can hear both sides of the story now. Don't miss the Immaculate Reception. Football Life next Wednesday, 8 Eastern, exclusively on NFL Network.
That was kind of the beginning of the rebirth of Pittsburgh Steelers football right there.
And then they went on to a whole bunch of Super Bowls and a whole bunch of Hall of Famers,
and a whole
including
bunch of
Franco Harris.
Yeah, man. How about all those games with Oakland every year?
Run out to the 41-yard line for Green Ellis. Chris Presley, Alex tells us, knee injury out for the game tonight.
And that's a little bit impactful. He's their only fullback on their active roster. They like their two-back power game. He's run, Ben Jarvis Green Ellis has run very successfully tonight already, 9 carries for 50 yards. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with the one-back game.
Green Ellis flanking Dalton here in the shotgun on 2nd and 6. Dalton throws a little bit high, but should have been caught by Gresham. And it would have been a first down.
And they got what they wanted, too. One-on-one with Nate Allen, the free safety. Ball is high. Gresham's got to come down with that. Now, last week, Cincinnati had 5 drops on offense. One of the key reasons they lost the football game. Gresham had one in the end zone to get knocked loose.
A.J. Green had a couple. They had missed opportunities with interceptions. They couldn't handle the ball or catch the ball on either side.
No, and they should have closed that game out. You're right, Brad.
Dalton now has missed his last 4 passes. Blitz coming from the secondary. Dalton loads and fires, and it's tipped and incomplete. Intended for Jones and broken up by Asamoah. Here's what Mike was talking about last week in a game that they definitely feel like they should have won. The reason being, watch some of this.
I mean, that's 3rd and 4 right there with Hawkins. End zone. Tough catch, but Gresham should hold it. How about this one? A.J. Green with a touchdown catch. He drops it. A.J. Green, 3rd and 7. Awkward catch, but catch the football. That never happens with him. And finally, another 3rd down situation. Just really sloppy football and atypical of the way the Bengals have played.
Punt. Kind of a sidewinder, not going very far. Takes a big bounce in the Eagles' favor. They're going to have it with pretty good field position around the 36-yard line. Only a 23-yard kick. So the Eagles only trailing by 10. They'll have it when we come back. In the hands of the Bengals, they know what's at hand. If they win tonight and win 2 more games, they can do no worse than the 2nd wild card spot. But there's how the playoff picture looks in the AFC right now.
Big
Patriots, Broncos, and Texans already assured of being there.
And what a great opportunity. Pittsburgh reeling. Baltimore fires their offensive coordinator, Cam Cameron. That division a little bit up for grabs right now.
Ravens on a rare 2-game losing skid. Bryce Brown, boy, if he could have gotten away from Malaluga, he might have been off to the races. As it is, he only got 2.
You know, you hear coaches talk all the time about gap control and run fits, and this is exactly where Malaluga is a good football player. Not allowing Bryce Brown, who runs 4.35, to outflank him. Just gets enough. And that's really an excellent job. That's what Malaluga has become, is a real good run defender. They replace him a lot on pass situations.
Number 1 tackler and the captain of the defense.
Oh, they got him.
Got a free play here, but it's batted down by the guy that jumped in there, Matty Lawson. So he got a head start, and then he got a deflected pass, but it's going to be a 5-yard walk-off.
Yeah, none of that's going to matter.
No, it's not.
Offside, number 99, defense. 5-yard penalty. Read 2nd down.
They're bringing a safety here. What they're trying to do is force Bryce Brown, the tailback, into pass protection. Instead, Lawson jumps.
So that moves it out to the 43, where it's 2nd down and 3. 4 wideouts here. 3 to the top. And Foles, play action, pump fake. Got a man, wide open. Macklin, Jeremy Macklin, down to the 11-yard line. Great pump fake. the stop and go out there on the wide receiver, and it was a nice play.
You call it the right way. It's a pump bubble screen. So what happens is they're going to pump fake it, and then watch right here. Macklin streaks down the field. It's so hard for a defensive back who's conditioned to come up and stop that bubble screen. Crocker gets caught, and that's kind of the excitement that Philadelphia needs right now, some energy. They were flat coming out, made some bad plays. Now they got a chance to change this thing in the red zone.
Just past Keith Jackson for the most catches in a 4-year span to start your career. Foles in trouble here. Jump pass, and his receiver fell down that time, and that was Macklin again.
Looked a little bit like Peyton Manning when he threw it on third down to a guy lying on his back. Here we are with that pump bubble again. Excuse me, that was the where he fell down.
He actually got close on the pass. Macklin came in, the leading receiver, with 53 catches, and that last one's given him an opportunity to score for the first time tonight.
Dion Lewis in a tight bunch over there with Macklin and two of the other wideouts.
2nd and 10. Foles fires to the end zone. Touchdown to Cooper. 11-yard touchdown. And the Eagles right back in the thick of this thing.
Really good job by Riley Cooper. Cincinnati's playing a zone, and Cooper comes in right in behind the linebacker. This tight bunch thing is really kind of a pain. You can see Cooper right here. He's going to release down the field and wind back in behind the linebacker. The clearing route by Macklin, he comes underneath. The safety's too deep in the end zone, and the separation between the linebackers and safeties gives him a chance. It looks like that ball, I thought the ball crossed before he was touched. Can't tell from there. I thought the last angle showed him across the end zone.
It's Reggie Nelson coming in to try to prevent him from hitting that chalk line.
Right there.
They are reviewing this as they do every scoring play.
Should be confirmed, I believe.
And if so, it caps off a quick drive. 4 plays, 64 yards. The big one was to Macklin for 46. And now Alex Henry is in for the point after. And it's up and good. So Nick Foles to Riley Cooper with 11:40 remaining in the half. 3-point game in Philadelphia. Tomorrow on NFL Total Access, John Elway will join us to discuss Sunday's big matchup with the Ravens and how he sees the playoff picture shaping up for the Broncos. Catch NFL Total Access tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern only on NFL Network.
Yeah, that's going to be a heck of a game, huh, Brad?
Yeah, it sure will be. This kick will go to the 2-yard line to Brandon Tate. Tate got outside across the 25. Nice return before he's run out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Cincinnati, well, they got a gift on the fumble recovery, and 6 plays took them 44 yards for a touchdown. And then the botched punt, but only 5 yards gained and a field goal, and now the last 2 they've had to punt it away. So Philadelphia's done its job both with their defense and with their offense, and Nick Foles moments ago with that touchdown pass.
Yeah, at some point we talked about Cincinnati, how good they are in the first quarter. They've got to be more consistent throughout the rest of the game.
Green Ellis going to get dropped for a loss. Boy, the Eagles defensive front just blew that up. Cedric Thornton with the stop.
I think Cedric Thornton is one of the better players that nobody talks about in this league. First-year player out of Southern Arkansas. Look at him come up. I apologize. I circled the wrong guy. But Thornton has been an explosive player because he's so stout in the run game. Thornton's the kind of guy that's just naturally country strong.
Loss of a yard, 2nd down, 11. Dalton shovel pass inside Brian Leonard. And Leonard weaves his way out to the 42. Trent Cole and Nate Allen in on the stop.
And Kyle Cook did a nice job controlling the nose. Left guard Clint Bowling pulled out, and they're really young. Cincinnati's young in that interior of their line. Clint Bowling, 4th round pick 2 years ago. Kyle Cook's a veteran, but Trevor Robinson, the rookie free agent, has been starting at center, and then Zeitler, the rookie first-round pick at right guard.
They're young as a team.
Yeah.
3rd down and 4. Dalton, and whistles stop this one with a flag down.
False start, number 82. Offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Marvin Jones with the penalty, and he'll head to the sideline.
Yeah, 3rd and 9's an awful lot different than 3rd and 4.
Sure is. 10 minutes remaining, second quarter. They've got a bunch of receivers to the left. Dalton hit. Ball's in the air. Eagles on top of it. Let's see, was it a fumble or not? Brandon Graham knocked it out of there. I think it's Trent Cole on the bottom of the pile.
And Andre Smith and Brandon Graham have been playing against each other since high school in the Army All-Star game.
Graham's been playing great in the last month, and he gets his left arm in there, and Dalton's right arm can't come through.
Really good job by Graham coming off the edge, and he talked about having a finesse game against Andre Smith. Uses the right arm to work underneath, strips the football, and that speed and finesse beating mass and strength.
The Eagles haven't had a takeaway in forever, and they get one here, we think, but they'll review it, and we'll know when we return in a minute. That last play under review.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The quarterback had an empty hand. It is a fumble covered by the defense. First down.
So after 5 games without a takeaway, they come up with one. The forced fumble by Brandon Graham, and Trent Cole with the recovery.
I think a very clear shot right here. Open hands before he starts the forward motion. Let's give Brandon Graham a ton of credit. With Jason Babin being released, this kid's starting to come into his own. Former first-round pick from 3 years ago.
Foles fakes one way, throws a screen back the other way to Bryce Brown. Maluga got the tackle, but not before Brown got to the first down marker.
Remember, we talk about the Eagles screen game. They fake it to Bryce Brown and then come back to him. Watch the fake as he crosses the face of Foles, the pump the other way, and now you're coming back. Really well set up. The lineman released down the field. Good block by Jake Scott, 64. And Bryce Brown, who told us at 225 pounds, Brad, what'd he say?
4.32 and a 4.37 was the
yeah, I don't believe either of them, but at 225, that anywhere near that is flying.
I tell you what, he's quick though.
Yep.
Timeout, Philadelphia. If you thought your fantasy season was over, it's not. NFL Playoff Challenge is back and is better than ever. You can win a trip to Super Bowl 48 in 2014. Play today at NFL.com/fantasy. Brown cuts it outside. Bengals give chase, and they'll run him out of bounds for no gain.
King Dunlop got jacked right back into the running lane by Michael Johnson. And once you force a speed back to bounce like that, he can't outrun an entire defense. Remember, King Dunlop to me is just a backup tackle. He's starting because the guy that I think is the best left tackle in football, Jason Peters, hurt his Achilles in the offseason, hasn't played a snap for the Eagles.
Talked about that great first quarter that the Bengals have had all season long. Hasn't been the case in the second quarter here tonight so far. A loss on the play, though, and it's second down at 12. Foles stands tall, now scrambling around. Somehow got away. Wow, pretty good run. We're not giving him enough credit for those big feet he's got.
I thought Dunlop was going to strip him also. I mean, he really did a nice job. Watch Dunlop, 96, come from behind. That front never gives up. He tries to strip him right there, and he holds on to the football. Gets away from Michael Johnson, and there was a late flag on the play on Cincinnati.
So that moves it to the 10-yard line.
Perfect, number 55, college free agent, second leading tackler with a hold on the crossing route.
So it's first and goal right at the 10. Dion Lewis in the backfield with Foles. And the little guy's going to get the carry for about 3. Montez perfect in on the tackle, and we got another flag down now in the end zone.
Yeah. Adam Jones and Riley Cooper going at it in the end zone, and Adam Jones is hot. Now, we've talked about this Cincinnati team not being able to close. You just saw a penalty on Perfect. If this is on
unnecessary roughness, number 24 in the defense for a headbutt. Half the distance to the goal, automatic, first down.
Well, we just talked about Adam Jones has changed his stripes, as it were, and then he does something like this.
Yeah, far left of your screen on Riley Cooper in the end zone. Left of the, now you can't do that. I mean, I know you're upset, and I don't blame you. Riley Cooper was pushing you around, but that's unacceptable. Marvin Lewis knows it. Back-to-back stupid penalties. You know, you're letting Philadelphia right back into this game.
Eagles first and goal. And now we have a timeout taken by the Bengals, I think.
Timeout, Cincinnati.
That's their first timeout. 7:53 remaining in the half. Adam Jones still upset by that penalty that's given the Eagles a first and goal chance. Marvin Lewis knowing that his Bengals need to win tonight and win 2 more, and you can't have bad penalties like they've had on this drive by the Eagles to give Philadelphia a chance to take the lead.
Brad, you couldn't have said it any better. You think you're a playoff team? That kind of stuff doesn't fly.
High backfield. Now they split out of that. Havili, the fullback, in there with Bryce Brown.
Likes to sprint.
And it's a shovel pass, and that'll be an incomplete pass. The Bengals covered it. Carlos Dunlap. But that's an incomplete pass. And it'll be second down and goal.
Eagles shifted. I like the call.
The ruling on the field is that was a forward pass, incomplete, second down.
That is the correct ruling.
Everybody always gets excited about these kind of passes or these kind of plays, and then they forget it's a pass.
Yeah. Damaris Johnson just checked into the game, who I think is one of the more exciting young players the Eagles have. Only 5'7.5", 170 pounds. This is him right here. I'd have an alert right now because that's one of the quickest players in the league.
He goes out on a wing to the right side. Foles throws incomplete, intended for Harbor, the tight end. And Burfict got a hand on it.
Yeah, Burfict and Newman did a nice job. Really a combination. Johnson explodes to the flat. Now look at the 2 people jump. Burfict and Newman. There's nothing there. That's a bad read by the quarterback. The ball should not go there. Burfict gets a piece of it.
So third and goal. Cincinnati, can they come up with a goal line stand here? Rookie quarterback has a look. And on third and goal, he's going to throw to the end zone, and it ricochets off Harbor again, and Harbor maybe should have had that one. Incomplete.
Pretty good coverage by the Bengals. You're going to see, I think it's Maluga get a hit on Harbor right there at the goal line, and as he turns around, that ball's in the air. That's a pretty difficult catch.
Yeah, it is.
He's coming off a hit, and the ball's behind him like that. I'm not even sure if it was intended for him or Macklin.
So Alex Henry will come out to try 22-yard field goal to tie things up. Henry's kick is good. So they get 3 out of the turnover. Looking for 7. They came up short. Nonetheless, 10 straight points for the Eagles in a tie game. Andy Dalton warming up. Bengals will have it back offensively here in a moment. Brad Nessler, Mike Mack, Alex Flanagan down on the field. Partner, Eagles come back. They hold their ground defensively, force a couple of kicks, and now back-to-back scores, 10-10.
Yeah, I think there are 2 points to be made. One, Bengals good in the first quarter, jumped all over the Eagles, mostly due to the Eagles' dumb mistakes, but they can't seem to finish. They can't close. And the Eagles, give them credit, like last week, this young team refuses to die. I like the fact they come back, they compete, and we got a football game.
And they don't look like a team that's bringing in the trucks to take their furniture home. And that's good news for Philadelphia fans. Kick drops. That's a live ball at the 5, picked up by Tate. And he's going to make something out of this. Luckily, got it out to the 20-yard line.
Tate flies. He was one of the fastest guys at the combine a couple of years ago coming out of North Carolina. And again, somebody's got it at the wide receiver position. Tate's one of those guys. Ball's on the ground, and as you said, that's free ball.
That could have been a disaster, but Tate made something out of it and got to the 20, which is where Cincinnati starts.
Now, Cincinnati's offense, since those first couple possessions, hasn't looked very good. Presley, the fullback, is out. You can see in the second quarter it's been dominated by the Eagles.
Green Ellis trying to take it to the corner. Flags down, probably a holding after a pickup of about 3.
I'm not sure if it's Zeitler or the tight end there, Gresham.
Holding, number 84, offense.
There's your answer.
10-yard penalty. Repeat for down.
Typically, the first place you look on this outside stretch play is the tight end because he's got the key block right here. He's got to secure the edge. And you're going to see that left arm outside the framework. The right arm is now outside the framework. I thought Zeitler, 68, out on the second level, got a hold too. But
could have been 2 calls there.
Yeah, they get it on Gresham, and it's a good call.
1st and 20 now. Back at the 10. A.J. Green's been quiet. Quick throw. A.J. Green. 20. And out to the 22-yard line.
Good call, Brad Nessler. He has been quiet, and they need to force the football to him.
Okay. We need the jaws of life down on the field.
Brandon Graham laughing. And those are the 2 guys that Brandon told us yesterday that they met back at the U.S. Army High School All-American game, and he said he got his first career sack in a preseason game against Andre Smith, so the 2 of them share a history as well as a helmet. And the official almost handed the wrong helmet to the wrong guy. And so Brandon's going to go over there for a quick chin strap adjustment. Meanwhile, 2nd down and 7. I like what you said, though, about A.J. Green. They got to force the football to him. He's too good a player to just let scheme take him out of the game.
Dalton fires behind Green this time, who slipped, but the pass was not where it had to be. That's going to bring up 3rd down and 7.
Penalties, right? A couple penalties on that last drive defensively. What happens on 1st down on the run play? Holding by Gresham. Cincinnati generally has been sloppy this entire second quarter.
Empty backfield. Andy Dalton on 3rd and 7. Pressure coming, and it got to him. Trent Cole, who had the fumble recovery moments ago, now has a sack. 3rd of the night for the Eagles.
Trent Cole working on Andrew Whitworth, who I think is one of the better left tackles in football. Cole's got a really good job, comes inside on the twist stunt. The guard doesn't see it. Bowling doesn't come off. Nice job. Tommy Brazier, the defensive line coach, and the Philadelphia Eagles coming up with a big sack.
And Huber's got a punt from his own goal line. Fair catch taken around the 45-yard line by Damaris Johnson. And so the Eagles have good field position now at the 45 with 5:51 remaining. Andy Reid, his team snapping an 8-game losing skid last week. Of course, from 99 to 04, great record, including a Super Bowl appearance and 4 division titles. And it's been a little bit of a dry spell since, and it's that Super Bowl thing down there on the bottom that the folks in this town want to see changed.
Yeah, and I think in most towns that's pretty acceptable, those numbers that are up there. But not winning a Super Bowl in this town. People have been highly critical of him. Obviously, the success hasn't been as good the last several years.
Foles on play action got hammered as he threw, and he throws it to the Eagles sideline. And he'll have to pick himself up after Manny Lawson with the hit.
And you know, Brad, I really believe that sometimes it's good for both parties to part ways. And I think Andy Reid's one of the most highly respected guys in the entire National Football League. And if he wants to work in the NFL next year as a head coach, he will. I think the Eagles are ready to go in a different direction. And to be honest with you, I'm as highly respectful of Andy as anybody in this league is. And there's Jeffrey Lurie on the right, Howie Roseman, the general manager, on the left.
Receiver was in the area. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
Yeah, this is call grounding on Foles.
I don't know if I agree with that one.
You know, we showed Jeffrey Lurie, the owner of the Eagles, and he made it clear at the end of last season and during the offseason, 8-8 is not acceptable. Well, you know, they're not going to get to 8-8.
Yeah, and again, I go back to two things. I really believe that Andy can have a job anywhere he wants next year, and I also believe that for the Eagles, it's time for a new voice and a new direction.
And, of course, that'll all be sorted out in a couple of weeks. But those rumors obviously rampant, especially during the 8-game losing streak. But, again, they're playing pretty inspired football because of some of these young guys like Bryce Brown, who picks up 3 on that carry. Lamour, you know, the stop defensively.
Dennis Kelly, the right tackle, number 67, the 5th-round pick, doesn't do a good job. And you can see how loosely he's carrying that football, and it's in the wrong arm. He's going to his right. He's got it in his left hand. If he doesn't get that ball high and tight pretty soon, he's going to set a record for fumbles. And the ball almost came out there.
It did. Very close. 3rd down and a bunch because of that grounding call on Foles. Steps up in the pocket, shovel passes to Havili, the fullback, who got it out close to the 47-yard line, but it'll still bring up 4th down.
Boy, does he do a nice job stepping up. There's a little twist on here where Gilberry's going to come around. Watch Foles step up. He feels pressure. Eyes are down the field, and a little flip pass. The thing I like most about Nick Foles is his presence in the pocket. He's never going to run a 4.5 40, but I like the way he slides, moves, and keeps his eyes down the field.
McBriar will punt. Much better kick this time.
Look at this.
It's going to be fielded at the 1-yard line. I'm not sure why.
Are you kidding me?
I don't know if Tate didn't know where he was on the field or should have let that punt go. And it ends up costing him about 11 yards. Would have come out to the 20, and Marvin Lewis is going to say, what were you thinking of?
Another dumb play, right? On top of penalties, there's a decision you can't make. Put your heels on the 10-yard line, and if it goes over your head, you let it go. I don't get that.
Obviously, Tate didn't either. Here he backpedals all the way down and steps actually on the goal line before bringing it back out to the 10.
Brad, that's just totally unacceptable. You're trying to win a playoff spot on top of all the penalties. How do you catch a punt in your own end zone?
1st and 10, Cincinnati's got 2 timeouts remaining. Dalton fires a strike out to A.J. Green at a 1st down out to the 22-yard line.
Now, they're spending a lot of this game matching Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie against A.J. Green, which is a good matchup because he is so long. I'm talking about DRC, 6'2", he's long, he's quick, but you got to force the football into 18.
Bengals with a little tempo here now with less than 4 minutes remaining in the half. First down from the 22. Green Ellis broke through out close to the 29-yard line.
You know, Brad, before the game I was talking to Ken Zampese, the quarterback coach, and Whitworth is hurt.
Whoa.
He's okay. But I was asking Zampese about his quarterback, Andy Dalton. I said, must be a pretty good room with him and Gradkowski. He said, Mike, he said, there's nothing you can't ask these guys to do. I can put in any pass protection and say, hey, Andy, you good with that? And he's like, you kidding me, Coach? That's great. And he just said that the development of this kid won't be hampered by anything other than his confidence as far as trying to stick it in there in some tight spaces.
The Bengals coaches came out and made sure that Whitworth comes out at least for a play. They want to make sure he's all right. He's the anchor and the guts of that offensive line in his 7th year out of LSU. He got up a little wobbly, and so they put Anthony Collins over there in his spot. Play action bootleg. Throw complete to Gresham, the tight end, but a nice open field tackle by who else? The guy you've talked about several times tonight, Cole Anderson.
All I know, when people want to say he's too small or he's too slow, all I know is when I put the tape on, he makes plays.
There's some of those guys that are just football players.
And that's the ultimate compliment from a coach, and that's what we heard yesterday from Andy Reid. That's what I heard from Todd Bowles, the defensive coordinator. The kid's a football player. And here's Todd Bowles, who Temple University graduate here in Philadelphia. Had an opportunity to interview with Temple this week for their vacant head coaching job.
They're going to bring the sticks all the way from the other side for a measurement here. That's when you have to go down to one knee to find out.
It's a knuckle or two, right?
Yep. So it's 3rd down and inches. The two coordinators, we'll see what they come up with.
Whitworth, is he back? Yep. I don't understand why that kid's not been in a Pro Bowl in 7 years.
He is
the best
solid.
left tackles in the league.
Big 3rd down for Cincinnati. And the Eagles fans know it.
I'd say alert play action right here from a defensive back.
Nope. Dalton, quarterback sneak. Didn't get much, but he didn't need much. And they're going to give him enough, I think, for the 1st down.
There's a lot of screaming going on down there with both teams. It's not going to matter because they're going to mark it for 1st down.
And so they come up to the line in a hurry here. Might only have time for one more play before the 2-minute warning. Dalton pulls it down. Now he's going to run. We got a flag down as he slides out to the 43-yard line. And a penalty marker at the line of scrimmage, actually in the backfield.
Holding, number 71. Offense, 10-yard penalty. Repeat 1st down.
Andre Smith is saying, who me? And Brandon Graham's nodding his head up and down saying, yeah, you.
Speed and finesse.
2 minutes remaining. 1st half of our Thursday night football from Philadelphia. 1st and 20 with 2 minutes remaining in the 1st half. Dalton in an empty backfield. Running out of time again, hit from behind, and the ball is out. Philadelphia's got it again. But was he passing this time? Apparently not. 2nd time tonight, Andy Dalton's been caught in that spot.
Yeah, and this time it's Cullen Jenkins, who we talked about, a dangerous inside presence. He comes on a loop. That's a good call, and I love what's happening with this defensive line. Clearly comes out. This is really cool what the Eagles are doing. Watch him come all the way around, and his quickness. You usually can't get a defensive tackle home from this far away. Cole does a great job, and then from behind in the strip, Cullen Jenkins. This whole defensive line is having a big football game for the Eagles.
Darryl Tapp with the fumble recovery. And Philadelphia with a golden opportunity here at the 12-yard line to take the lead before halftime. Andy Dalton twice tonight. Very similar plays, fumbling the football.
Offensive line really struggling with the Eagles team speed. Brandon Graham has beaten up Andre Smith, and that time Cullen Jenkins comes from all the way around with a beautiful strip.
Play under review. We'll get the official word on it when we return.
Rich Eisen, here's what's not under review in the Lexus halftime show. Our ability to review Week 15. The key games, the key injuries. Brad, back to you.
All right, Rich, we'll see you guys in less than 2 minutes. One thing I know, if you're trying to make the playoffs, don't fumble twice in your own territory and don't have 6 first-half penalties.
The quarterback lost control of the ball prior to any forward motion of his hand. The ruling on the field is confirmed. It is a fumble recovered by the defense. First down, Philadelphia.
That's a clear call. And Brad, I'm with you. And don't catch punts in the end zone, and don't generally make those kinds of decisions and plays. Now the Eagles knocking on the door late in the first half in a game that the Cincinnati Bengals should have stepped on their throats and run away with.
Let's see if Nick Foles can turn it into points. From the 12. Play fake. They throw it out. The screen goes to Avant. He got inside the 10 to the 9. Luga made the tackle.
Told you about their screen game. That's about the fourth screen they've run already. And the biggest play of the game for the Eagles was off a fake bubble screen.
Right.
So keeping Nick Foles upright against the #1 sack team in the country, in the NFL, a big part of it is their screen game.
We talked about the Bengals and their ability to sack people. The Eagles have a season-high 4 sacks in the first half. Bryce Brown, tough run to the 2. That's the best explosion we've seen out of him from the backfield.
Watch Dallas Reynolds, the first-year center. Been 3 years on the practice squad. Snap, pull, get to the second level, and then the cutback away from Burfict. Good block by Jake Scott. And I like Bryce Brown when he gets north and south. When he gets too carried away with his speed laterally, no. But north and south, that kid's got a chance to be special.
Didn't quite get the first down. 3rd and short. He'll get it again. And this time he's got it at least to 1st and goal. Michael Johnson made the tackle. 39 seconds remaining in the half. And timeout here. See where they spot this. It's going to be right around the 2-yard line or just inside the 2. Started bad for the Eagles. They fumbled, had a block punt. That led to 10 quick points for the Bengals, and then 10 unanswered in the second quarter by Philadelphia, including a touchdown pass by Nick Foles. And Jarvis Green-Ellis has had a good game, but it hasn't mattered because of the mistakes that Cincinnati has made, especially in this quarter. We talked about their first quarter domination. It's been a second quarter implosion for them right now.
And Brad, we talked at the top of the show about how I really think all the pressure is on Cincinnati, and they're playing like that. And if I'm the Eagles, to me, this is 4-down territory. I'm 4-9. I got a young, aggressive team. I want a touchdown. I don't want to settle for a field goal.
2 tight ends set, 1st and goal. Avant will clear out of the backfield, and flags all over the place.
Illegal snap, number 66, offense, 5-yard penalty.
I thought Dallas Reynolds twitched, and he did. Watch him twitch right in the middle of your screen.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I don't know how the Bengals didn't jump on that. You would think 5 guys would have jumped off sides with that.
Well, now it's making it a little harder on the Eagle offense. They back out to the 7-yard line. Andy Dalton just praying that his defense can get a stop here. Just inside the 7. Foles, a quick slant's complete down to the original line of scrimmage to Harbor. But now they've only got 1 timeout left, and they're going to take it.
And again, I think you go for it if you're the Philadelphia Eagles. You've got nothing to lose and an aggressive young team.
Timeout.
I like the identification of Clay Harbor with one-on-one coverage backside that time, working on Terrence Newman.
Foles put it in there with some smoke on it.
They're going to kick. No, they're not going to kick. Emil Iguanagu, Stanley Havili.
Meanwhile, Cincinnati changes up its defensive personnel. Bengals with a terrible second quarter, not just in total yards, but in all the mistakes and penalties they had, and 2 fumbles by Dalton. And will that last one give the Eagles more points before halftime? They've got to hustle if this is in the field of play. 2nd down and goal. They're out of timeouts. Bryce Brown, they fake it to him. Foles has a look, throws, broken up. Luga in the end zone, tried to get it. A tackle eligible to Tennant.
Yeah, Matt Tennant, who's their extra blocker in their heavy set. Right over here, this is Emil Iguanagu, just promoted from the practice squad. So he rolls out, has nothing. tries to throw it to Matt Tennant, 5th-round pick by New Orleans a few years ago as a center. Went right through the wickets.
Now you got to go one more time to the end zone, and then if you don't get it, get the 3.
I still go for it.
Foles to the corner, way over the head of Jeremy Maclin.
See, Bobby April's holding them for a second, and now they're letting them go.
And here comes the field goal unit.
I think the Bengals saw that play last week from Nick Foles. That was the game-winning touchdown, the sprint right touchdown by Nick Foles with no time left. They went right back to the well. Terrence Newman all over it.
Alex Henry hit a 22-yarder earlier. Second time tonight the Eagles have had a 1st and goal and had to settle for one of these kicks. And this one up from 20 and good. So they turn the fumble into a 20-yard field goal. And 13 unanswered points now has put the Eagles in front right before halftime. Talked about the AFC playoff race. In the NFC, Falcons having lost their 2nd game of the year to Carolina last week. San Francisco, Green Bay, the Giants, a wild card picture. Chicago's been faltering. Seattle, dangerous team, I think, the Seahawks.
Yeah, and I'm intrigued because San Francisco's got at New England this Sunday night, Brad, and then they've got to go at Seattle. So I'm with you. I think Seattle, especially at home, could be a spoiler here.
Big game with Chicago and Green Bay this weekend. One of the many good ones. The Giants playing the Falcons, as a matter of fact, in Atlanta.
And, you know, speaking of Seattle, everybody talks about that rookie quarterback, and justifiably so, but how about Marshawn Lynch in the year he's having? He's
other than Adrian Peterson, who's having a better one, right?
At the tailback position, he's averaging 100 yards a game. I mean, he's got 7 100-yard games, and boy, he's a beast.
Line drive kick. Again, a loose ball and a live ball, but it's picked up at the 12. And Orson Charles gets it out to the 19-yard line with 13 seconds remaining. So Cincinnati got some early gifts for Christmas and a 10-point lead. And their quarterback has fumbled twice and given the gifts right back to Philadelphia.
And let's just, I mean, from Andy Dalton's perspective, the Eagles are getting home defensively.
Yeah.
And they're doing it mostly with 4-man pressure. The Eagles' defensive line has played extremely well. Andre Smith has struggled, and Cullen Jenkins and Brandon Graham have been phenomenal.
Cincinnati was the team that controlled the first quarter. The Eagles control the second quarter and take the lead to the locker room. 13-10 right now. Philadelphia out in front. Rich and the guys with Alexa's halftime show is coming up next. The second half indeed starts now from Philadelphia as Nick Foles warming up. 13 unanswered points for the Eagles in that second quarter. Has them the lead as we take a look at the first half. Game summary presented by Cannon. 13-10, 175 total yards right now for Philadelphia. And even with that, they had 2 goal-to-go situations, Mike, and they had to settle for field goals. But a great second quarter by Philadelphia. Let's give them credit, both defense and offense. And the Bengals, they got to have to do something about this or you can kiss the playoffs goodbye.
Playoffs are gone for the Bengals if they don't start playing better. And I wasn't real impressed by the Bengals at all in this half. And let's be honest, it was kind of a tale of 2 different quarters, right? I mean, in the first quarter, it looks like the Eagles are going to get run out of the building. I mean, the first series, Maclin gets stripped from behind by Dunlap, leads to a touchdown. Then, really good job by Boom Herron. Jacks McNutt back into the punter, leads to a field goal. It's 10-0. It looks like it's over, but now it's the rush. Brandon Graham from behind with the strip. Again. This time, Trent Cole on an X stunt gets to the quarterback. How about penalties? Way too many penalties. Look at Adam Jones. Why can you headbutt a guy like that? You can't do that. Gave him a first down. And Brandon Tate with his foot in the end zone. How do you return a punt from the end zone? From all 3 phases of the game, I just don't think Cincinnati's played very well tonight.
Let's see if they can turn it around in the next 2 quarters. Tate runs up on this kick return at the 7. and trips and goes down on his own at about the 23-yard line as we check in with Alex.
Well, Brad, much of the talk coming into this game revolved around the Cincinnati Bengals defensive line and their ability to get to the quarterback. Well, it has been all Philadelphia tonight and their defensive line, which has been impressive. Andy Reid describing the way that his D-line is playing as aggressive. His team wants to be the spoiler tonight. Meanwhile, Marvin Lewis tells me of their horrible second quarter that his team cannot relax. Watch their emotions on the sideline. Very subdued sideline tonight, Brad.
All right, Alex, thanks. We'll start things at the 23-yard line for Cincinnati. Green Ellis smacked as he got a couple by Trent Cole. Tale of quarterbacks tonight. One in his second year, one in his rookie season. Andy Dalton talked to Boomer Esiason at halftime. Boomer says Andy's playing like he's in a trance right now, and I agree with him.
I think he's scared to make a mistake, and if you look at the 8 completions, 4 to A.J. Green, there isn't another wide receiver with a completion, and they really need somebody to step up here, and Dalton's got to have some confidence in some other guys.
On 2nd and 8, Gresham, the tight end. Play fake. Dalton runs right back up into the pocket. Now he's going to tuck it and get what he can. Pretty good run. It could have been more of a disaster. And Graham, who's had a strong game, the guy that makes the tackle.
Yeah, and again, it's Whitworth, the left tackle, and watch the move by the defensive end, Trent Cole, up and then under. Forces Dalton out of the pocket, and I thought there was great hustle from behind. 54, Brandon Graham making a play. And again, it's the defensive line, Brad, because Marvin Jones was wide open on the outside. Dalton didn't have the opportunity to get him the football.
So a 3rd and 6 on the opening possession of the 3rd for Cincinnati. Dalton fires down the middle and dropped by Gresham. Talked about drops a week ago. That one should have been a catch and a first down.
Yeah, I thought Brian Leonard, the tailback that time, did a good job helping pick up blitz. But as you said, Brad, here's Leonard does a good job. They push Jenkins by. Here's the throw inside. You've got to catch that football. To me, that's Gresham's second drop of the evening, and it's almost like a turnover. It should have been a first down. Now you're punting.
And you waste your opening possession of the 3rd quarter, which is the time you want to make a statement to get back in the football game. Huber. Fair catch taken back at the 31-yard line by Damaris Johnson. So Nick Foles coming out, rookie quarterback. It'll be the start of the rest of the year. He's done some good things tonight, and his team's in front by 3. There's a look-alike Andy Reid. Maybe not quite as round as Andy. It's a good look, though.
That was pretty good, man.
First down, Philadelphia at its own 31-yard line. A stretch play. Bryce Brown's going to cut it back in the middle of the field and lose a yard. Montez Burfict with a tackle. There's that rookie linebacker out of Arizona State. Interesting story, this kid.
Yeah, and watch Pecco. He's right on top of the center, and that's going to leave Burfict an opportunity to get to the football because the nose tackle takes care of the center, and it opens up a huge lane for Burfict to make a play.
You're the draft guru. How's a guy that's an undrafted free agent be your number 2 tackler on your team?
We'll get into that after this play.
Okay. 2nd down, 11. Bengals might have jumped. We've got more than one flag down.
And another one. Yep. A lot of whistles going on, and Carlos Dunlop came in and hit the quarterback late. You might get a live ball foul and a dead ball foul.
Carl Jeffers, our referee, in a committee meeting right now. And here's the call.
There are multiple fouls by the defense on the play.
Yep.
Neutral zone infraction. That penalty will be declined. Unnecessary roughness for a late hit on the quarterback after the play was being stopped. Number 96. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced. Automatic first down.
So that's the 7th penalty of the night. One short of the season high for Cincinnati. And the implosion continues.
Marvin Lewis really upset. Dunlop, there's the jump, and now Dunlop, number 96. Whistles are blowing. Everybody clearly heard and stopped except for one player.
So that moves it all the way out to the 45-yard line.
Mike! Go. Mike, for me! Mike's out there! 15. 180!
Play action. Foles trying to scan the field. Might have a holding call here as flags continue to fly here early in the third quarter.
Holding, number 664, offense. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Jake's got the right guard this time.
And this was what's known as cover one. It's man free. You can see number 64, the right guard, gets jacked back into the quarterback's lap, and there's a clear hold on Atkins. Now, it's man coverage. He's going to jump that route right there. Foles wanted it. Good job coming back to him late. But Terrence Newman was trying to jump that route. Man coverage with the safety behind.
First and 20.
We're over. 5-8. 15.
We'll draw a play to Bryce Brown. Got it back across the 40-yard line out to the 41. And we'll bring up second down and 14 there.
Brad, you were talking about Vontaze Burfict, and last year I was very clear with my evaluation of him as a college player, and I said, based on watching 3 game tapes, he was a non-draftable player. 32 NFL teams agreed with me.
Yep.
And I'm not changing my evaluation, even though he's playing like a first or second round linebacker in this league. And the reason is Marvin Lewis and that franchise helped this kid with nutrition. He lost 15 or 20 pounds. He looks like a completely different football player than he did a year ago.
He's a find, that's for sure. Foles down the middle. Complete. Jeremy Maclin. First down at the 42-yard line. Pickup of 17.
Okay, now this front four is one of the best pressure fronts in the league, right? The Eagles are one of the worst offensive line protection fronts. Look at the time. Look at the time. Just has all day to step in there. There isn't a pass coverage in the world. He just surveys the field, waits, and bang. Maclin wide open against the zone.
And Maclin shaken up after making that catch, working his way to the sideline. The Eagles came in having given up 41 sacks.
Yep.
27 of those were Michael Vick's problem. On first down, Brown broke one tackle, puts his head down and got to the 34-yard line. Iguanago got a lead block out there.
Yeah, he's got a little burst, and this time Dunlap gets some movement over here. 41, Iguanago just got activated from the practice squad. He gets 2 chip blocks.
Not bad.
Yeah, and then you run through the arm tackle. And this kid is interesting. 7th round pick. Shady McCoy hurt right now with the concussion. You know, you've got Shady McCoy locked up for a bunch of years, and the tailback position's looking pretty darn healthy for the Eagles going forward.
Right now, Deion Lewis will give Brown a breather, and he'll get the carry.
There's a hole.
Deion Lewis to the 26. And another penalty marker down.
Yeah, it's Iguanago. Clear hold.
Holding, number 41, offense. 10-yard penalty, second down.
We gave him the props for the previous play. He just took it back.
All over Robert Gathers. I mean, Iguanago here. Watch him hold. Robert Gathers. As Gathers tries to disengage, there's the clear hold right there, and that's why Deion Lewis was able to get the edge.
So it backs it up to the 44-yard line. Eagles have scored 10 times on their first drive of the second half this year. 5 touchdowns, 5 field goals. Trying to do it here again. Screenplay. Oh, man. Hello. Perfect again on Deion Lewis.
Yeah, A is the diagnose, and then B, he runs through Dallas Reynolds, the center, trying to block him. And this is an explosion play. Here's Perfect. I love the diagnose. And watch him run through the center, Dallas Reynolds, and that's what you did see in college. He had 1 or 2 flash plays a game where you went, wow. In college, the rest of the game wasn't very good. In the NFL, he has been marvelously consistent.
Third down and a whole bunch. Brown and Lewis both in the backfield with Foles here. And he's going to have to take a timeout. Play clock was down to 1.
Philadelphia.
So they'll talk it over on the sideline. We'll see about a 3rd and 16 when we come back. Mike, I guess if they pick up a 3rd down at 16, the timeout will look good. Otherwise, it's going to look wasted. And Bengals haven't been able to get to Nick Foles tonight. And he'll be passing here on 3rd down at 16. Macklin in motion. Flags fly. And if this is on Philadelphia, it's going to be 3rd down and 21.
False start, number 881, offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Wow. So they come out of a timeout and pick up a penalty. Now it's 3rd down and 21. Your chances of getting that are pretty slim.
Yeah.
You might need that timeout later.
Exactly. And if there's been one consistent criticism of this Eagles franchise over the last several years, it's been time management, regardless of who the quarterback is.
They got to get all the way to the 32-yard line for a first down.
180.
Blitz coming. They'll keep it on the ground, and this is going to draw some boos from the crowd. Bryce Brown dropped by Burfict again. Not a good possession for Philadelphia right there, or at least not the last 3 or 4 plays.
I have no problem with that call. I mean, I think Andy Reid and Marty Mornhinweg are protecting their quarterback against a bad decision. He's a rookie. Take him out of the play on 3rd and 21.
McBriar's punt. Fair catch taken at the 15 by Brandon Tate. Eagles have done a nice job with their defense tonight, forcing 2 fumbles that have led to points and a 3-point lead. You vote, they play. Vote to send your favorite player to the Pro Bowl in Hawaii. You can vote online or with your mobile device at NFL.com/Pro Bowl or text Pro Bowl to MyNFL. Voting ends after Monday Night Football next week. So get the votes in. Bengals first down. And Jarvis Green Ellis got a couple. Trent Cole's had a good ball game tonight.
You know, Alex talked about it at halftime, right after, and we talked about it at halftime. And I think the Eagles' defensive front is dominating this football game. Trent Cole, Brandon Graham, Colin Jenkins, and rookie Fletcher Cox, along with Derek Landry, have played phenomenally well.
Tommy Brasher, you talked about him earlier. 2 coaching changes made in this season on the Eagles' defensive side of the ball. They've changed the way they play, and they're playing it very well tonight. And another sack. And this one's Fletcher Cox, a rookie out of Mississippi State.
And this is just one-on-one, and the Eagles bring the illusion of pressure with an inside linebacker. Now, here's the inside linebacker. He's not coming, but you get a one-on-one right here. Cox easily beats Clint Bowling, and the first-round pick from the Eagles, Fletcher Cox. The last couple games, he's flashed his ability, and I really think his best football is ahead of him.
And now they got the Bengals in a long yardage 3rd down. Dalton trying to avoid a 6th sack, but he's not going to be able to. Cox again is there.
And the Eagles bring 4 again. 4-man pressure is killing Cincinnati. Now Cox, watch him here. He's going to go slowly. Now he's just hesitating. Now push that guard back into the quarterback. Great job by Brandon Graham and Cox. Little hesitation move. Now jack him back into the quarterback. Brandon Graham attacking from the opposite side.
And now Huber's got a punt from his own end zone. Got a good kick out of it. Fielded at the 41 by Johnson. Made the first man miss and got about a 6-yard return out of it. But great field position now. Question is, can the Eagles offense do anything with it? Andy Dalton's not having a good night. When you've been sacked a career high 6 times and you've fumbled twice, the frustration shows on the second-year quarterback of the Bengals.
But the Philadelphia defensive line has dominated this football game. Forget the wide 9. They're winning the football game because of the D-line.
Foles going to take a shot. Long ball on the sideline, intercepted. Thrown too short, and Leon Hall's got his first pick of the year, and he's going the other way with it. Leon Hall, big play for the Bengals defense.
And that might be a game-changing underthrow by Nick Foles. Really good coverage. I thought Leon Hall is having a really solid year. Man-to-man on Macklin. Watch him he turns and runs with him. He's got perfect position. This ball's underthrown by about 8 or 9 yards. And a good job by the former first-round pick, high-pointing the football and then becoming a running back.
First interception by Nick Foles going back to November 18th. 169 passes. Wow. And a 44-yard return for Leon Hall, who said he was jealous some of his other teammates has gotten interceptions this year, and he hadn't. When we talked to him last night, he's got a big one there. That
was huge, and this is all about the Bengals season right here.
Dalton avoids a 7th sack, but there's a flag down. We're going to holding call, and then he took a big shot trying to get rid of the football.
Yeah, Brandon Graham has been a wrecking crew tonight. Now they've got a different tackle in the game. It's Dennis Rowland, 5th-year player.
Holding, number 74, offense. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Now, I don't know if Andre Smith is hurt or just tired of Brandon Graham, but the same thing's happening right here. Dennis Rowland, watch him work on Graham. Graham bull rushes him, gets extension, and now as he goes to get the quarterback, clearly Rowland reaches out and holds on to him. And this Eagles defensive front continues to take control of the football game.
So another Bengal penalty. 8, which ties the season high. And they back themselves up to midfield. Green Ellis hesitates in the hole and then bursts through it. Best run of the night. Ben-Jarvis Green Ellis inside the 35.
I like the patience on this run, getting behind his center. Watch Kyle Cook, the center here, and the cutback behind him. Cook does a good job just positioning the defensive tackle. There's the cutback and the burst by Ben-Jarvis Green Ellis. And a little bit of life there with the Bengals.
16-yard pickup. Now they give it to him again, and he's going to get the first down, I think, at the 30, maybe across the 30.
Wow. Holding call on first down on a pass play. They come back with 2 consecutive runs to pick up a first down.
80 yards rushing for Ben-Jarvis Green Ellis on the night. As we mentioned early in the ball game, he went over 1,000 on the season. They go with a hurry up here on first down at the 30. And now slow things down. Toss to Green Ellis. Maybe got a yard.
They can't block Trent Cole. I mean, I don't care if it's the pass game or the run game, but Trent Cole has been huge tonight. Right here, toss sweep. Whitworth comes out, the tight end loses him, and now he's just going to roll back inside off Whitworth's block. Help comes from the inside. You can see the linebackers flowing. Kendricks does a good job getting off the block by the tight end. They're playing really good defense up front.
2nd and 9, Dalton, screen pass incomplete. Brian Leonard, and it's going to bring up 3rd down and long.
Ness, a lot has been made of the fact that they brought Tommy Brasher back to coach this defensive line, and I don't think this wide 9 is the problem, and it's not a defense. Wide 9 is just an alignment. It's where you're lining up your defensive ends.
Right.
But when I put the tape on against Tampa Bay last week, what I saw was a more fundamentally sound front 7. They were aware of their gaps, they were aware of their run fits, and I think that's what you're seeing tonight.
Brandon Graham told us he's much more comfortable in this setup, and he and Cole are playing like it right now. 3rd and 9 from the 29. Dalton fires on the sideline, caught by A.J. Green. And it's a first down, Cincinnati.
Pretty good matchup going on out in the edge with Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie right here and A.J. Green. He's trying to get underneath him. Green runs away. The ball's thrown high again. Look at the acrobatic catch. Secures it. It's pretty good.
Alex asked Andrew Whitworth, the left tackle, about A.J. Green, and he says what we see a few of on Sunday, we see 10,000 of those in practice every week. A.J. Green making spectacular catches.
And I keep going back to the fact that there's been 9 receptions tonight. I don't think Dalton's had his best game. I know his offensive line hasn't had his best game, but we don't have a wide receiver with a catch other than A.J. Green.
The Falcons made a lot of moves to get Julio Jones after A.J. Green came to Cincinnati, and they might be the 2 best second-year receivers in the NFL.
Oh, yeah. They both already made a huge dent in this league, and they both have an opportunity to be the best.
Back in the red zone now for the Bengals. Can they take advantage of that interception? Dalton. They pressure him again. Now he's going to run with it. And he shows some nice wheels down the sideline to get to the 5-yard line, maybe the 6.
Good hustle by Darryl Tapp, but again, pressure forced him out of the pocket. Darryl Tapp hustling. Dalton, not a speed guy. Nonetheless, picks up the first down.
Little tightrope job there on the sideline to get it to the 6-yard line. But again, first and goal.
Again, Brad, pressure pushed him out of the pocket. He's very uncomfortable back there right now.
8th play of the Cincinnati drive. Again, trying to take advantage of Leon Hall's interception and trying to save their season or their playoff hopes of this season. Trailing by 3 here with under 2 to go in the third quarter. Gresham, the tight end, will switch sides. And again, whistles and flags.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
How can you? Marvin Lewis has got to be so frustrated. They haven't won a playoff game in Cincinnati in an awful long time, and this year they're fighting just to get in.
They haven't won one since, what, 91? The penalty is a season high right now, 9 for 69.
That's pretty cute right there.
First and goal, but it's backed up to the 11. Green in motion to a bunch set on the right. Dalton going to run it up the middle. Andy Dalton, a cutback and a touchdown. Something went right for him there. 11 yards untouched.
Give him credit. He saw immediately a lane open up. This is not a planned quarterback run by any means. You'll see the opening, and Hendricks, the linebacker, is going to have a chance at him late. Now there he goes. It's man coverage, 2 safeties deep. Leonard gets a block down the field, and Michael Hendricks looks poor in the open field.
Extra point by Josh Brown. Up and good. Cincinnati back in front. Leon Hall with the interception and a 40-yard return. And then Andy Dalton did the rest from 11 yards out. Andy Dalton hadn't been very good all night, but he just was on an 11-yard touchdown run. He's given his team the lead back, 17-13. So the Bengals had 3 drives that started in Eagles territory tonight. They got 2 touchdowns and a field goal out of it. Brandon Boykin, the rookie out of Georgia, waiting in the end zone for Josh Brown's kick. And Boykin will take this one 2 yards deep. Out across the 20 to the 22. Reminder for you, Sunday, NFL Network brings you everything you need to know from sunrise through the final gun on Sunday night. First on the field, 7 a.m. Eastern with live reports from all the big games at 9 o'clock game day morning. Takes you to 1 o'clock, preparing you for all the Sunday action. At 4 o'clock, we break down the early games for you on Game Day Scorecard. Then recap all the day's action on Game Day Highlights at 7:30. Finally, 11:30 Eastern. Game Day Final. Sunday is Game Day here on NFL Network. With Mike Mayock and Alex Flanagan, Brad Nessler with you with 1:05 remaining third quarter. And the Eagles playing from behind again. Nick Foles shovels it to Clay Harbor, his tight end. And Harbor goes out across the 30. Pickup of 8.
You know, Brad, one of the storylines coming in was this dominant front from Cincinnati led by Geno Atkins, and the Eagles have done a really nice job with him inside. Jake Scott, 9-year veteran out of Idaho, pushing him past the pocket. Evan Mathis has been battling him all night long. Good job by Dalton stepping in. A double team. The center, Dallas Reynolds, comes over and helps. And again, trying to run him by the hole. We haven't called his name much. Eagles have done an excellent job.
Whoa, and the ball is out. Fumble as Cincinnati's got it, and they're heading to the end zone. Wallace Gilberry. Touchdown, Bengals. Pat Sims, I think, is the guy that forced the fumble.
Oh, he did. He absolutely, Pat Sims comes right through the center guard gap. The hit right there.
You said if he keeps carrying it like that, the ball's going to come out, and it did.
No secret, he's had several fumbles. Now let's see if he secures it before he gets hit. The ball never had it. Ball's loose the whole way. That ball's out and will be a fumble.
And after it came out, Gilberry, the 5th-year pro out of Alabama, scooped it and scored. Play under review, but I don't think there's any doubt the Bengals have extended their lead.
Watch the eyes of Bryce Brown. It's a perfectly good handoff. He sees pressure coming, never secures the football, knows the hit's coming, ducks under Sims. The ball obviously out early. It's picked up by Gilberry, and that's a huge play in this game.
Isn't it amazing that 2 defensive plays have turned the tide back for Cincinnati after they had a rough night on offense, but the Leon Hall interception and now the hit by Sims. Wallace Gilberry's 25-yard march to the end zone, and now they lead 24-13 with 21 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter.
I've been very complimentary of Bryce Brown and his running ability, but the one thing he doesn't ever do is secure the football. Even though he's had a couple of big games running the football this year, look how loose he carries it. Carolina stripped it. Again, Carolina stripped again. Remember, this kid hadn't started a football game since he was a senior in high school in 2008, prior to 3 weeks ago. And here, in a key moment of the game, it's a good handoff. The ball's not secured. Pat Sims strips it. Kid's got a lot of talent, but he's got to hold on to the football.
So that defensive front for Cincinnati that have been shut out with sacks, they don't get a sack, but they get a fumble recovery. That's even better. Points off turnover is huge.
Brad, I think you called it 100% right, though, when you talked about the 2 defensive plays being the catalyst. And it's Mike Zimmer's defense right now that if they make the playoffs, or if they continue to have a chance to be in the playoffs, it's going to be because of the plays made by that defense.
Brown's kick to Boykin. He'll bring it from the end zone again. And he'll not make the 20-yard line. Nice job. Everybody fired up on Cincinnati right now. Emmanuel Lamar, another rookie.
Yeah.
With the play.
Another college free agent, undrafted out of Kansas State. Flags down, players down.
Helmets down.
Boykin going, man. A little different to the SEC.
Holding. Number 50 of the return team, half the distance to the goal. First down, Philadelphia.
That's Casey Matthews. 3 turnovers have led to 24 Bengals points. The Eagles defense has played very well, with Andy Dalton being sacked 6 times. But it's the defense of Cincinnati that have come up with 2 big plays that led to the last 2 touchdowns. Deion Lewis in there at the tailback spot now. Play action, Foles down the middle, nice throw. And the ball is out again. Cincinnati's got it again. Chris Crocker. The pass was complete. The ball came out around the 29-yard line.
Yeah, I really like the play action and where Foles put it on him. It was a really good throw.
And in a matter of basically 2 minutes, this game's completely turned around.
You have to catch it, get both feet down, have an element of time.
The receiver caught the ball and
I think that ball's out.
Fumbled. That fumble recovered by the defense. First down, Cincinnati.
Yeah, the ball's out. Now, it's got to be, so it's not an incomplete pass. It's got to be catch it, get both feet down, plus make an offensive football move. I think all those things happen. And I think the football's out prior to anything touching the ground. That looks like another turnover to me.
Reggie Nelson puts his shoulder in there after Harbor makes this catch. Right there.
Yeah, Reggie Nelson, I think, has had a heck of a year this year. He's got 2 interceptions. That's his second forced fumble. He's come off the edge aggressively in the run game. Chris Crocker, who's been here for a few years now, but they moved into the starting lineup. I think he's been kind of the catalyst from a communication perspective of keeping that secondary together.
Green Ellis got back to the line of scrimmage, that's all. Brandon Graham made another tackle.
I think we're going to get another hold. This time I think it's going to be Zeitler, the right guard, on Colin Jenkins.
Holding, number 68, offense, 10-yard penalty, first down.
And another penalty. Double digits now against Cincinnati.
These young offensive linemen on both teams are really struggling with speed. And Zeitler couldn't take the speed of Jenkins, held him again.
Marvin Lewis, his team has made a lot of mistakes, but they're 15 minutes away from keeping their playoff hopes alive. 24-13 Cincinnati. Clay Harbor, the guy that fumbled following the reception, has given it back. Cincinnati now with an 11-point lead, 15 minutes away from keeping their playoff dreams aloft. Dalton, trouble, and knuckleballs out of bounds as he's hit by Trent Cole. This isn't going to be an artistic thing of beauty for the Bengals offense so far for 3 quarters.
This Eagles defensive line, the defensive ends, Andre Smith gets jacked right back into Dalton's lap. I mean, you're talking about 335 pounds. Watch Brandon Graham get under the big boy. Okay? Gets under him, bull rushes him right into Dalton's lap. And I'm telling you, the combination of Cole and Graham have dominated the game for the Eagles on defense.
Empty backfield, but it's a fly pitch to Hawkins. And he shows his quickness and speed on the corner over there. Got about 9.
You know, they've got to find ways to get that kid some touches. He's one of the quicker players in the league. And again, when you look at receivers, A.J. Green's the only wide receiver to catch a football tonight on a forward pass. They've had to get creative. Marvin Jones on a reverse and then on the fly sweep to Hawkins.
They need to get to the 3-yard line for a first down. Dalton on 3rd and 11. Pumps. Now throws to the end zone. Incomplete. Intended in the corner for A.J. Green. Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie on the coverage.
Yeah, that might have even hit him in the helmet. I thought Green was open early. There's a bracket coverage, 23 and 29. Double move, he's open. Now watch the ball hit him right in the back of the helmet.
Any way you can get the job done.
That ball either has to be thrown earlier or higher. If Dalton does either of those things, it's a touchdown.
Josh Brown in to attempt a 32-yard field goal to extend the lead. And he does. 3 more coming off the Chris Crocker fumble recovery. Bengals 27-13. Been some gifts tonight from the Eagles. 24 points off their turnovers. Cincinnati has a 27-13 lead.
Yeah, I'm not sure Andy's real happy with the giving season here in Philadelphia. I mean, they came into this game with 29 giveaways, 4 more tonight. That's 33 giveaways. And as I mentioned earlier tonight, the New England Patriots have 10. The San Francisco 49ers have 12. That's how you win games in this league, not giving the ball away.
Ooh, high short kick. Better call fair catch on this one. And the ball is out again.
There you go.
Cincinnati's got it again. Wow, the wheels are falling off the Eagle wagon right now.
You're not kidding, man. That might have been was that Cedric Thornton, the defensive tackle, trying to catch it, and Taylor Mays, the backup safety. That looked like a deliberate pop-up kick to me. Thornton can't catch it. He's got no chance. Pops right into Taylor Mays' hands, and if you look at the possessions in the second half, I mean, it's just they've turned it over, I think, 4 of the last 5.
Well, there's a guy that's not going to be fielding a lot of kicks for you in practice, so didn't think to put the fair catch up and then try to grab it. 3 turnovers in the last 71 seconds of this football game.
Yeah, give Darren Simmons some credit there on that special teams play. Nice job by the coach.
Bootleg off play action. Dalton fires. Broken up. Intended where Andrew Hawkins and Brandon Boykin got a hand on it. Philadelphia now, in their last 5 plays, have turned it over 4 times. That's almost impossible to do.
Watch Dalton on the boot, come to his right, and you got A.J. Green wide open up top. I mean, he is wide open on the comeback. I don't know why you come back in traffic and throw it behind your secondary receiver when one of the best 2 or 3 wide receivers in football is open.
Green Ellis got through the first wave and got close to the 25. He's had another good night.
He's really solid. And the one thing I think this offense needs, Brad, is a make-you-miss tailback. This kid's a good, solid player, typically doesn't fumble. If you block it for 10 yards, he's going to get you 10 yards. He's solid and dependable.
92 yards on 18 carries, including the first touchdown of the game. They fake it to him here. A.J. Green going to drop this one. Doesn't drop many. That was kind of a tough catch, but it's going to bring up 4th down.
You know, 3rd and what was that? 3rd and about 3 or 4? That's got to be frustrating. Run the ball, run the clock. I really thought the key play on that series, though, was Dalton missing A.J. Green with clear vision on a bootleg.
Josh Brown just signed a couple weeks ago when Mike Nugent was hurt. Will try a 44-yard field goal. And flags fly. Both sides pointing at the other. If it's against the Eagles, it'll be a 1st down, and Andy Dalton's hoping that's the case.
This Eagle defense has played well enough to win a football game tonight. It's been all the turnovers.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on the defense for disconcerting signals as they called out a signal similar to the defense cadence. 15 yards will be measured half the distance to the goal, automatic. 1st down.
You don't see that one very often.
How many times in your life have you heard an official on a microphone use the word disconcerting?
I have a hard time just hanging out with you because of that Boston College education you have.
Let's not forget
When you
how
start
for
throwing
school
the Latin
now.
at me.
You go a little Latin.
Yeah.
Disconcertium.
So 1st down all the way down to the 13-yard line. Orson Charles in the backfield as a fullback right now in front of Ben Jarvis. Green Ellis. Marvin Jones in motion. Green Ellis found a little avenue. Got it down to the 5. And that puts him at 100 for the night.
Yeah, and they moved Orson Charles into fullback. He's a tight end. Watch Zeitler and then the fullback, Orson Charles, as they pull out in front. 2 blockers on 2 defenders, hat on a hat. Look at that hole. Beautiful. Kyle Cook, the center, pushing from behind, and that's what I think Cincinnati's got to do. Just get those big fat bodies on some other big fat bodies and push piles.
Here's a fade to A.J. Green. Touchdown, Cincinnati.
Or maybe throw it to A.J. Green.
11th touchdown catch of the year for number 18.
Been a pretty good battle all night long. Perfectly thrown ball, 1 foot, 2 foot, not a problem. full control the entire time. I think Cromartie is one of the most gifted defensive backs in the league from a physical skills perspective. Just needs to be more consistent.
Only guy for the wide receiver spot with a catch, but he makes them count as he adds 6 more, and the 7th point is Josh Brown's. First, a bad special team play, and then 33 yards later, an all-pro in the corner of the end zone touchdown. Tonight's aerial coverage is being presented by America's Navy. Looking in on Philadelphia, nice night in Philly. Not a good night for the Eagles, especially in the second half. Bengals turning all those turnovers into points, and they lead 34-13. 24 points in a span of a little over 3 minutes. Boykin cut down before he can get to the 20. Flags fly in. Boom Heron with the tackle on special teams.
Boom's had a nice game for them on special teams. Yep. He's the guy that blocked the punt earlier. Recovered the fumble after the block.
Number 51 of the return team. Half the distance to the goal. First down, Philadelphia.
So the Eagles back themselves into a hole again with just 12:42 remaining. Jamar Chaney on the special teams with the holding call. And they'll have to work from the 8-yard line. Nick Foles in the gun. Be throwing from inside his 5, maybe. Nope, he won't. They get to him at the 5, and it's Gilberry, the guy that has the fumble return for the touchdown, gets the first sack of the night for Cincinnati.
Just a tackle twist. Gilberry and Atkins twist inside. Atkins in, Gilberry around, comes clean. I thought the quarterback Foles could have gotten rid of the football. Macklin was wide open. Give Gilberry credit for a great hustle play.
Now it's Bryce Brown trying to take it wide one way, retreating to his own goal line, trying to get a block from his quarterback, and all of that netted him a yard. Terrence Newman in on the stop.
Had a conversation with Terrence Newman on the field before the game, and I complimented him on the way he's been playing physically and how consistent he's played. He said, Mike, I've been reborn, and it's all because of Mike Zimmer. He demands that I play with proper technique and protocol, and I do.
I think you hurt his shoulder on that last play. Foles fires down the sideline and knocked away by Terrence Newman. Whether his shoulder was good or bad, he got his arms up there. Nice coverage.
I'm telling you, their defensive backfield's revamped, and they're playing extremely well. Newman with inside technique, hip to hip, 10-year veteran, understands how to play the football. Don't know if he could extend both shoulders, arms both ways or not, but that's a heck of a play. I think Leon Hall has played well, Adam Jones, and then we talked about how well Reggie Nelson's played. Forced a fumble tonight, and also Chris Crocker, who I think's done a phenomenal job this year.
McBriar, line drive kick, returnable from the 45 by Jones. Reverses his field, puts his hand in the turf, and he got tagged at the 45-yard line. Well, Liberty Bell's cracked kind of like the Eagles' season has been. 34-13. The Bengals right now 11.5 minutes away from bettering their chances in the playoffs as you take a look at the AFC wildcard hunt. The Colts and the Steelers have a leg up on Cincinnati. Pittsburgh's already beaten Cincinnati once, but those two get together next week.
Yep.
And the Jets are still mathematically alive.
Yeah, they got to run the table and hope for a lot of help, and then Indianapolis and Houston play them each other 2 of the next 3 weeks, so that'll resolve that division and 1 wild card slot.
I'll tell you, about an hour ago, I wasn't giving Cincinnati too many chances. But they started scoring off Philadelphia miscues, and they haven't looked back. And now they've got a comfortable lead of 34-13.
It's interesting, isn't it, Brad? An hour ago, you're going, man, this isn't looking good. I still, when you put this tape on next week, what you're going to see is a highly inconsistent offense that gave up way too many sacks and did not play well at all. The quarterback position, the offensive line position, that's not going to be good enough to get it done in this league offensively, but I give their defense a ton of credit.
Yep. They hung in there and made huge plays in the third and early fourth quarter. And you can always lean on this guy. Green Ellis hasn't had any huge runs. I think his best run of the night was 16 yards. Nonetheless, over 100 on the night again.
We talked about the division a little bit earlier. Pittsburgh struggling with injuries. Baltimore, I'm sure it had to be incredibly difficult for John Harbaugh to let go of his offensive coordinator, Cam Cameron, who he's known for years and years. To me, I look at that team and I see Baltimore and Joe Flacco play a lot better at home than they have on the road, and I think that's going to be a challenge. Denver this week, followed by the Giants, and then final weekend at Cincinnati.
The 10-minute mark. Dalton throws to Gresham, looking for a block, cuts back in the middle of the field. Got a block or two, and he's all the way down to the 34-yard line. That's good enough for a first down.
Yeah, big boy Andre Smith did a nice job that time, and a couple of the other linemen got downfield also. See 71, Andre Smith will check and then pull out. Gets a chip right there, and he stays on him, which is what I like. He envelops the defender, and then down the field, really good blocking. Got to put the ball away. Big hit by D'Amico Ryans on bowling. Knocks him right back into the Gresham.
Bengals just want to use all the clock they can. They don't need more points. Green Ellis short game, and we'll work our way under the 9-minute mark.
So Ness, look at this weekend's games, right? We already talked about Denver and Baltimore. Indianapolis is at Houston, right? Houston coming off a horrible loss Monday night in New England.
Giants are in Atlanta.
San Francisco at New England on Sunday night.
That's a heck of a lineup.
Yeah, that's as good as it gets all season long right there. I love that.
So many games meaning so much now the next couple of weeks, and so much riding on this one for Cincinnati, and they're going to survive it. We said it wasn't a thing of beauty, but it'll be close to 8 minutes remaining when this one ends. Again, Green Bay, Chicago has been banged up. Jay Cutler's been knocked around. We saw the first matchup, second Thursday of the season.
Correct.
And that was not a good night for Jay Cutler either.
Now, when they protect him and when that offensive line is healthy and playing well, they're a different football team. People jumping all over that New England bandwagon right now, the way they played. Tom Brady was magnificent the other night.
Oh, he sure was. Got to be a guy that's in the hunt for the MVP along with Peyton Manning. Maybe Aaron Rodgers, Adrian Peterson, all those guys having sensational years. Brian Leonard, former Rutgers star, getting some carries here in the late stages.
Did you name any defensive players in that MVP?
Well, I could have. J.J. Watt, I could have thrown him in there. Von Miller, maybe.
Von Miller.
Yeah.
I think Denver's got two candidates for an offensive and defensive player of the year.
Here's some of the guys we were talking about. Adrian Peterson, that's just remarkable. 1,600 yards. And it's less than a year when he tore his knee up against the Redskins on Christmas Eve.
He's just had a crazy good year. On pace to try and shatter the rushing record.
Wants to get to 2,000, or maybe to Eric Dickerson's record, he says. Again, the clock, the Bengals' friend here, with 7 minutes and now less remaining. Green Ellis went over 100 yards, lost yardage, and now he's over 100 yards for the second time tonight.
Does he get credit for 200-yard games?
Remember that year when Dave Hampton lost 5 yards on his last carry for the Falcons and ended up with 995? That's terrible. You just don't let that happen.
I loved talking to Andrew Whitworth last night. And he's feeling ill, won't return to the game. But I thought as far as a professional talking about his craft, it was as good as I've ever heard.
It was sensational. Bootleg sidearm throw out to Gresham. And he stretches out, dives for the first down marker. Going to be close to it.
We were talking to Whitworth last night, asked him to give us a breakdown of Trent Cole. And he went just off all this different film study, what he thought he did well, how he thought he'd have to work him. Then he started talking about Jenkins inside and what his guys need to do inside to nullify Jenkins. And, you know, there are guys, Brad, that I call true pros. Got guys that care about their craft and want to get better each and every year. And he's one of them. And I think him not playing in a Pro Bowl ever in his career is a travesty.
30-yard. Green Ellis. I think he got it. Let's check in with Alex.
Brad and Mike, I had a fun time listening to what Whitworth had to say about his quarterback, Andy Dalton. You guys remember he said he doesn't like to be wrong, right? He doesn't like to make mistakes. He learned that early on. He actually was roommates with Andy Dalton when he first came to the team. Said that when he points things out to Andy, doesn't necessarily always like it, likes to be the guy that's right. And Andre's obviously learned that.
It's just like Mike.
You have been all over me today, man.
We're in our last 5 minutes of the season there, brother. Leonard. No gain on the play.
I like what Whitworth was saying. He said every year after the draft, I get a phone call from our offensive line coach, Paul Alexander, and he goes, okay, we took Clint Bowling in the 4th round. You got to mentor him.
Right.
This year, hey, we got Trevor Robinson as a free agent, and we got a 1st rounder in Zeitler. And he says, I call these guys up, I fly them in, and we go to work together.
Fly them down to Louisiana, go hang out.
Yep. Isn't that cool? That's what a
teammate.
veteran's all about right there. A true vet.
Clock stop. Eagles have 1 timeout remaining. NFL Network on Sunday, the most complete pregame coverage on television. Wake up at 7 a.m. First on the field, live reports from all the games. This Sunday, we'll take a closer look at Peyton Manning against the Ravens. NFL Game Day morning at 9. Look at the fierce battle in the East between the Cowboys, Redskins, and Giants for the #1 spot there. And take a close look at all the Sunday games and the playoff possibilities. First on the field and Game Day morning. All starts Sunday. Set your alarm, 7 a.m. Eastern on NFL Network. Boom Herron going to get a little time in the backfield now. After having a good night on special teams, they fake it to him, and now it's an end around. Brandon Tate.
Nice
Lamar
job.
Chaney had to stop.
Chaney and Nate Allen both stayed home on the backside. I'm with you, though. Why wouldn't you give Boom Herron a taste, huh?
Yeah.
Blocked the punt, made a couple big tackles. Give him a taste.
Former star at Ohio State, so he's played all his football, basically. First in Columbus and then in Cincinnati. Talked about the Bengals and the playoff history, or maybe lack thereof. Haven't qualified for the playoffs in consecutive years since the early 80s. And that last playoff win I mentioned earlier, 1991. That's a long time.
Yeah.
Waiting to win another one. 0-3 with Marvin. Lost last year to Houston. That was a tough team to run into, and Houston has shown their toughness with an 11-2 record again this year. 2 guys that have been around at the same team for a long time. 10 years for Marvin, and Andy Reid in his 14th. Will it be his last? Is he down to his last couple of weeks here? Speculation will continue to run rampant about that. And Mike, like you said, if it's not here, if he wants to coach, I'm sure there's somebody that wants him.
There'll be a line.
Toss. Herron hitting the backfield, bounced off one guy, still on his feet. And Boom Herron down inside the 6-yard line.
A little burst to him. You see a difference in quickness and speed there compared to Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis. Cullen Jenkins did a great job getting penetration, but couldn't finish with a tackle.
Dalton had run over to the sideline. He hustles back into the huddle here. Wanted to use all that play clock. Now the Bengals know, the smiles on the sideline showing you the story, that they know their dreams of postseason action are still very much alive, but it didn't look like that earlier in this game. Dalton fade to the corner. Gresham, he caught it, but he's out of bounds. Tried to get it to his tight end in virtually the same spot as A.J. Green, but he couldn't quite keep his body in bounds. one foot down and the other one landed out of the end zone. Charles Johnson's baby boy, I guess, not even named yet, huh? Just born at kickoff tonight.
Ran back.
Little bundle of joy.
Yeah, isn't that beautiful?
One of our crew members, congratulations.
That's great. What a beautiful picture.
That'll be a Christmas present that'll keep on taking. Next 20 years or so. Folds a slant, incomplete, intended for Riley Cooper, who has the only touchdown catch of the night for the Eagles.
Liked how Adam Jones stayed square on him, forced a very difficult throw and catch.
If Cincinnati makes the playoffs, what do you think their prospects are?
No. You know what, Brad? They've got to play better up front. They've got 3 young interior offensive linemen. I think their defense is a Super Bowl type defense. They've got to be a little more consistent offensively.
Almost intercepted again. That was Adam Jones that could have had one. Had they held on to the 3 that they should have had against Dallas last week, They would be in a better position for the playoffs. Let that game slip away, lost on the final play of the game, and they led from 6 minutes into the first quarter last week all the way to the final gun.
3 interceptions dropped. Right there, the game's over if Terrence Newman holds on to that football. Clements, again, driving on the football. You've got to catch it. And finally, late in the game, you make that catch, it's all over. And so, Brad, the way I'd answer your question, I think it's a good one, is defensively, I think they're capable. Offensively, they've got to be much more consistent.
Foles overshot. There's another would-be interception. That one, Reggie Nelson, and he gets up slowly.
Yeah, that's not good.
That's all you need is to have one of your main starters in the secondary get hurt on a game that's out of hand.
Trying to get a piece of Foles' arm. Ball comes out funky. There's the dive, and it looks like he landed awkwardly, elbow, shoulder, somewhere in there.
And the Eagles have to kick from their own end zone. This has not been a great punting night, I'll say that. Brandon Tate on the return. And Brandon Tate. Flags fly as he goes all the way inside the 30-yard line.
Late flag, too.
Got a couple of Eagles down. And here comes 2 more flags about 10 seconds after the play was over. Brandon Hughes is the guy I think that's down.
I'll tell you one thing. Jamar Chaney was on his knees, and he got whacked by Lemur. Chaney was trying to put on the brakes on a change of direction and just got absolutely crushed.
Again, there are several flags.
There are multiple fouls by the return team on the play. Both blindside blocks. Personal fouls, number 59 and 34. One is declined, the other is accepted. 15 yards, first down.
So 2 blindside blocks on the same play.
Yeah, I saw one of them happen. It was Lemur on Chaney, and it was really a crushing hit. Right down, yeah, you couldn't see it there.
And that was Heron with the block.
There's the hit right there, the first one. And then later in the play, up top is the second one.
So Jeremy Miles had one, and then Heron the other. And again, the player down is Brandon Hughes.
So Cincinnati's going to escape with one here.
Yep.
Lemur getting a lot of snaps as a college free agent, along with Perfect.
Andy Reid out having a look at his fallen player. And now they've got him rolled over. That's good. You can see some of his teammates reacting. Might have been a case where he was just maybe even knocked unconscious by that hit right there.
Boy, this is the first year they've afforded blindside blocking protection, special teams players. He's up and walking. That's great.
Okay. Everybody can breathe easier.
And that was Rick Bulkholder out there, the trainer. I think it's one of the best I've ever run into. His protocol on concussions is at the point where the rest of the organization just takes a step back and says, just tell us when he's ready.
And he's got like a 5-step process that guys are going to have to go through. And, of course,
that's Rick right there on the right, and he's really good at what he does.
Well, Sean McCoy had to go through that. Michael Vick had to go through that. Brent Selleck's going through it this week. And it might be the case for that young man, too, this week. 3.5 to go. Philadelphia has no timeouts. Oh. And Heron on the carry. And we check in with Alex.
Well, Brad, Michael Vick, you guys talking about the concussions and Rick's 5-step process. Well, Michael Vick yesterday cleared that process. He is healthy. He is fine. But as you know, he has not played at all tonight, was actually inactive tonight. So the future of Michael Vick, of course, very much up in the air, as you guys mentioned earlier on in this game. Michael Vick wants to be a starter in this league, though. It'll be interesting to see what his future holds.
Yeah, I just don't see him wearing a green helmet again, do you? That's just my opinion.
No, I see sometime prior to right around Super Bowl time, I really do believe that the Eagles, as opposed to give him the $3 million guarantee, take a step back and say, okay, Foles is our guy, and we're going to move forward.
And Foles showed some flashes again tonight of being a good NFL quarterback. Dan Heron again. No gain on the play.
No, Brad, you give up 34 points. It's usually an indictment on your defense. Not so tonight. I think the Eagles' defense has played with energy. I think they've played with toughness, and I think the reason they lost this football game is because of the turnovers.
Yeah, no doubt. All those turnovers led to points for the most part, and it just snowballed after a halftime lead for the Eagles. All Cincinnati. Those are about the only people left in the stadium, by the way, are the Bengals fans.
I thought you were going to say the two teams and us.
And the postgame guys, Rich and the guys will be along when it's over. Gresham gets it down to the 40 and gets it down to the 2-minute warning. Cincinnati's Bengals on their way to their 8th win of the season, and their playoff hopes very much alive. 2 minutes remaining here in Philadelphia.
Jewelers post-game show. Andy Dalton, AJ Green going to join us, and we're going to go against the grain. Sanders Claus is coming by. He's going to tell us who's naughty or who's nice. That's coming up.
Like you guys don't always go against the grain. All right, Rich, 2 minutes from now. Andy Dalton takes a knee. Favorite formation for any team in football. 27 points off 5 Eagles turnovers tonight for Cincinnati, and so they have reason to smile. Marvin Lewis wasn't smiling a little while ago, but it all turned around on those turnovers. Wake up with NFL AM, the only morning show dedicated to the NFL. Tomorrow morning, 49ers. Frank Gore will be along, talk about the matchup with the Patriots. Victor Cruz checks in, talking about the Falcons game on Sunday. All the information and highlights leading to the weekend's games. NFL AM tomorrow and every weekday. 6 a.m. Eastern, only on NFL Network. Well, it's all come down to 2 games for Cincinnati. Win those 2, and you're in the playoffs. Not an easy task. Pittsburgh's already beaten them once, so they have to go to Pittsburgh. And then Baltimore in their home finale on December 30th. But what we said 3 hours ago, you can't win 3 unless you win the first one. They got the first one out of the way tonight.
Check, and they know they didn't play well offensively. A lot of work to do, and I think Jay Gruden, the offensive coordinator, will get to work. And again, Brad, they didn't complete a pass to a wide receiver except that guy on the right, A.J. Green.
Yep.
They got to find somebody else to step up and take some pressure off.
Another knee, a final one. And the final in Philadelphia, 34-13. And few fans that are left do what Philadelphia fans do as well as anyone.
Oh, come on.
I'm just saying.
Stop it.
I'm just saying. So Cincinnati goes to 8-6. The Eagles fall to 4-10. Final score, 34-13 Cincinnati. We'll be back in a minute with a Kay Jewelers post-game show. Highlights, analysis, interviews, and press conferences. And Andy Dalton, as Rich said, with the guys. So stick around.